On the Brooklyn Bridge tonight, voices strong, knowledge tight, thorough black talk in the air, changing minds, changing flair. From Brother Tad to Sister K, warriors got things to say. Sister Marcia brings the heat, Brother Blacksmith keeps the beat. Revolutionary waves they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral line. Thursday nights, the world will see Black Power Media on the screen. Facebook, YouTube, all aligned, breaking free from every bind. Social talk and politics, every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true, for the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral line. Ancestral line.
Tonight, we got dreams and we got fight. Voices loud in the city's light. Change is coming into sight. History told by scars and pain, echoes deep in every name. Legal truths we must reclaim, through the storm and through the rain. Thorough Black Talk Worldview, with Brother Tad, Sister K, Sister Marcia, Brother Blacksmith. Cut the check or no vote, yeah. Justice calls from open skies. Tears that fall, ain't no disguise. Marching forward, no surprise. Strength in hearts you can't downsize. Every voice a sweet refrain. In this fight we share the strain. Through the joy and through the pain, bound together like a chain. Thorough Black Talk Worldview, Brother Tad, Sister K, Sister Marcia, Brother Blacksmith. Got the check or no vote, yeah.
Good evening, family. Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk with your Sister K Fighter, Brother Tad, Sister Marcia, and Brother Blacksmith. We gonna do part 2, family. Welcome to the Brooklyn Bridge. Tonight we're gonna have our Sister Brooke, our Brother Divine, and hopefully Brother Sage will be able to join us. You know, Brother Tad needed a minute to queue up all of those videos because he has tons of footage from that discussion that took place 2 weeks ago. Diaspora wars. I'm gonna let the videos speak for themselves. I'm gonna let the team speak for themselves. Let's get my brother Tad from the OG Wisdom Podcast up on the Brooklyn Bridge. What's happening, Brother Tad? What's happening?
Peace, family. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Sister K?
Got you loud and clear, brother. Got you loud and clear.
Okay, because look, shout out to the family. Shout out to everybody in the chat right now. Shout out to the original usual suspects. Shout out to the new family members, our long lost cousins Shout out to the FBAs. We in the house. We in the house like termites, baby. Oh,
There
Sister
you go.
K, I appreciate you so much. I can't tell you. Yo, when you told me how to upload the jump off, because remember, it was a lot of footage, a lot of videos. And I'm like, damn. But we got it together. I did a little quick research. Shout out to my chat GPT. I just call my chat my G. That's me and him be kicking it. And he be going, I'll be like, yo, you got to take a deep dive. Give me everything you got. He'd be like, yeah, some of that is fake. But I want the family to see some of the videos because, one of my favorite words is rhetoric. Being in a movement for so long, some things we know is true, some things we know isn't. And people are citing quotes from other people who aren't primary sources.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody will say Dr. Such and Such said, but Dr. Such and Such is not a primary source. So I think we're gonna show. Are we gonna have enough time to show that video? The one that they opened up with? Because that video about 5 minutes.
I got it all queued up. Queued up. But let me give some shout outs real quick. Excuse me, my throat a little under the weather. Speaks to Sister Aruba 927. Doggy Diamond TV Mars in the building. What's good, sis? Sister Farnessa, Alabama in here. Heavy. What's good, sis? Uncle Jess, Aunt Marie. I missed the family call Friday too. I wasn't feeling too good, but I won't miss it tomorrow. Sister Joyce, Brother Monty, Suffolk County in the building. Sister Keish, what up? Yes, indeed. Our brother Rich Nice, the Bay Area in the building. Let's get it. Sister Tanisha, what's happening? K Rush 409, you know what it is, fam. You already know what it is. Honor, what's happening? What's happening, family? What's happening? It's happening. Happy belated anniversary to you and the Queen. They just had a wedding anniversary. So always big up Black love. Yes, Brother Isaiah, what's happening? Good to see you Black again, brother.
That's our bro for a long time.
Isaiah.
Yes. We rock with all y'all. Truth be told, man. We definitely love the support and the reminder that we are moving in the right direction. Some people really don't get it, and we ain't hating on nobody, but it seems like everybody hating on us. But the truth sounds like hate speech, right, sis? To people living on a lie. I'm gonna tell you something real quick, Sister Keisha.
Go ahead.
I put in chat a few minutes ago. Hold on. Let me read it to you. I told chat, give me 100 Black inventions that the world couldn't live without. I said, hey, my G, give me 100 inventions made by Black Americans before 1965 the world couldn't do without. He said, bet, I got you. Gave me 100 real easy, right? I said, now give me 100 Caribbean inventions for the same time period. He said, Coach Chad, I got to be straight with you. I couldn't find credible evidence of 100 distinct inventions by Black Caribbean inventors before 1965 that meet that kind of impact you're asking for. The historical record is spotty, underdocumented, and many innovators' contributions were marginalized or not patented. But that does not mean they did not exist. It means their stories weren't recorded or preserved at scale. And he gave me about 20. 20, sis. Now, I ain't trying to kick dirt on nobody. These are just questions I had to ask because it constantly said, we have no culture. Constantly said, we have no culture. People keep going to rap, which is the most popular musical genre on the planet. Let's be clear. But it's just amazing. Now, I get you, Brother Rich Nice, that chat be lying sometimes. But you know what I've learned too, Brother Rich Nice, is how you set your prompts up. You got to be specific. Because Sister Keisha had the correct chat a couple of times, so we're aware of that. But again, by popular consensus, because as chat said, it's not enough documentation to record it. So I like to be proven wrong. If I'm mistaken, that's the opportunity to teach me something. However, don't say we don't have any culture, and don't claim
Facts.
booty shaking, because we was at the foundational Black American parade in Harlem, and there was a lot of decency. It was a lot of clothed sisters, and it was still lit. They were still turned up. Little Harlem folks was doing their Harlem thing like only Harlem could do. They were, oh
Facts.
man. But no, like Sister K said, nobody was gyrating on the police. Nobody was underdressed and overexposed. It was a nice family vibe. Nobody felt threatened. Was no fights, no bang outs.
None of that.
However, all of those behaviors get ascribed to us, and we reclaiming our identity. We not playing that with nobody, man. We let people in our crib and they being disrespectful. They acting like Rick James and Eddie Murphy house. Fuck your couch. Like they feed all in our white couch. We not doing that no more.
It's over. It's up for everybody. Shout out to BX, the gatekeeper. She had a phenomenal live on TikTok today with someone from the legal profession.
Okay.
Who was laying it down heavy about, some of the work that she's doing and others, because people say it's just rhetoric. They don't know what's going on. But we can't reveal our hand all the time.
No.
As Sister Brooke said, sometimes we gotta move stealth.
Definitely.
Know what I mean? And so, we making it happen. So shout out to BX, the gatekeeper. Please follow her on social media platforms.
Let me make sure I got the sister up here.
Yeah, follow her on YouTube. She just started her YouTube channel. And excuse me.
Maybe we get the sister up here one day. Who knows?
Oh, yes. You hear that, BX? So you let us know when you're ready. But let me get my sister Marcia up on the Brooklyn Bridge. Africans on the rise. What's happening, Sister Marcia?
Peace to the family. Happy Blacktastic Thursday. Hope everyone is well. Sister Keisha, Brother Tad, everyone in the check-in right now on time. We appreciate y'all all. How's it? Oh, first shout out is to Mama Ashada Shakur. May she rise in power. Thank you for everything that you've done. The world may think it's small, but for me, it's huge. Your bravery, your courage will never be forgotten through me and probably everyone here on this channel. So let's get into it.
Yeah, definitely shout out to Mama Ashada Shakur. One of the best books I've ever read. And if y'all ever get a chance, on Common's album, like Water for Chocolate, he had a song for Assata, him and CeeLo Green. And that's one of the few songs that really brought tears to my eyes, especially since I heard the song after I read the book. He captured the whole story. It was super dope. I mean, we dope people. We really are dope, phenomenal people, And she is definitely a living testament who has transitioned to the ancestral realm to hold us down on that side of things. So definitely shout out to Mama Ashada Shakur.
And we're not going to have people talking reckless about her legacy.
Yeah. You saw her, right?
Folks,
you saw her, right, Sister K?
Talking reckless about our esteemed elders' legacy. And we're not having that. So shout out to everybody who G-checked that situation. It was out of line and out of pocket. And so thanks for everybody who continues to shut people down who try to disrespect the legacy of Assata Shakur. FBAs is definitely on code. And excuse me, some folks from the diaspora also let it known, excuse me, don't disrespect her legacy. And so we got to stand firm on that. We're not playing any games, not with ours.
But this is what we've been dealing with, sis.
You can do that with claws, but you ain't doing that with ours. And one day, I'll have Aunt Marie come up here and tell y'all the special history our family have with Assata Shakur. So, like I said, we don't need to stand on nobody else's shoulders. Not over here, not this family. We don't got to stand on nobody goddamn shoulders. But shout out to Sister Shanika. She said this is her first time here. But buckle up, sis. It's about to get thick. And so, let me see if Brother Divine is ready and Sister Brooke. If y'all ready, give me the thumbs up. I know Sister Brooke had to go out and come back in So we're going to get Brother Divine up on the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah.
Because we want his perspective on the event that took place. This is part 2. So when Sister Brooke comes back in, we'll bring her right up, excuse me, up on the bridge. But we're going to play this clip, Brother Divine. For those
who started it all.
Brother Divine from the U.S. Freedmen's Project. What's happening, brother? How are you anyway?
Man, as always, can I be heard?
Yes, clearly.
Oh, great. It's always a good night when we on the bridge under the clear skies.
You already know.
With the team. So if I listen, I could complain, but ain't nobody gonna listen anyway. So we just gonna say it's great.
That's a fact.
Yes, indeed. So, Brother Divine was there, with Sister Brooke, Brother Sage, Tad, myself. And at the outset, this was a video that was played before the conversation really got started. So already, they came in with a particular mindset. We're going to play this video, and we'll come right back, and we'll let our Brother Divine give you his perspective, and then move on to Brother Tad. Here we go.
There's an African boycott going on right now because of disrespect to the Black American community. This is about the survival of Black Americans. We're in a competition. Africans and Latinos are fighting Black Americans for resources.
So yeah, apparently this is a thing that has been happening over the past week. A group of African Americans calling themselves the Foundational Black Americans and American Descendants of Slavery apparently decided that it would be a great idea to stage an economic boycott of businesses owned by African immigrants in the United States. The context here is that a boycott is one of the most potent economic and political statements that it's possible to make. For example, it was a global boycott that brought down South Africa's apartheid regime. And it is the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement against Israel that has led to some very panicked and interesting responses from the White House. Basically, a boycott is a geopolitical tool that is usually reserved for the very worst of the worst. So how the hell do small businesses owned by African immigrants in the US qualify for a boycott by anyone? Least of all by those who share the closest cultural and genetic ties with them, who live in the same neighborhoods with them, and with whom they have intermarried so much that in many cases it is no longer functionally possible to distinguish them from each other. The answer is, they don't. What you're actually witnessing is a US secret intelligence operation. As always, you don't have to take my word for it, because the US government itself has done an excellent job of documenting exactly what is happening and why. What you're looking at is a document called Memorandum 46, a confidential memo presented by former U.S. National Security Advisor Zbigniew Brzezinski under President Jimmy Carter on March 17, 1978. Yes, Jimmy Carter, nice guy, Nobel Peace Prize winner, him. So the context behind this document was that at the time, America's racist, hostile, imperial foreign policy towards South Africa, which offered full support to the apartheid regime, had gained attention in America and had become a big political issue among African Americans. Just a decade before that, the US had also suffered great international embarrassment at the UN because of this very issue. The US government feared that political collaboration between Black people in Africa and Black people in the US would lead to the re-emergence of Pan-African ideals and potentially collective action by the African voting bloc, which made up 1/3 of the UN. It also apparently feared that this political collaboration would refocus Black American attention onto Israeli apartheid in Palestine, and Black people would naturally side with the Palestinians over the Israeli settler colonists. All of this might apparently force a change in US foreign policy towards South Africa and toward Africa as a whole, which according to Brzezinski was a no-go area. US imperial policy toward Africa, according to this document, could not be allowed to change under any circumstances because the status quo of Black Africa is, I quote, important for US political, economic, and military interests. His words, not mine. As a result, Brzezinski's memo stated that, quote, appropriate steps need to be taken inside and outside the country in order to inhibit any pressure by radical African leaders and organizations on the US Black community, for the latter to exert influence on the policy of the administration toward Africa. In other words,
not we having any of that now, can we?
So what were these appropriate steps? I'll just read them out without adding or subtracting anything. This is the highest level of the US government in its own words. Bear in mind, this is a publicly available document which you can Google and read for yourself. specific steps should be taken with the help of appropriate government agencies to inhibit coordinated activity of the Black movement in the United States. Special clandestine operations should be launched by the CIA to cause division among Black African radical national groups and their leaders. To elaborate and bring into effect a special program designed to perpetuate division in the Black movement and neutralize the most active groups of the leftist radical organizations representing different social strata of the Black community, to encourage division in Black circles. To preserve the present climate which inhibits the emergence from within the Black leadership of a person capable of exerting nationwide appeal. I take special note of the next two. To work out and realize preventive operations in order to impede durable ties between U.S. Black organizations and radical groups in African states. To support actions designed to sharpen social stratification in the Black community, which would lead to the widening and perpetuation of the gap between successful educated Blacks and the poor, giving rise to growing antagonism between different Black groups and a weakening of the movement as a whole. Now, does any of this sound strangely familiar to you? Has American foreign policy in Africa recently become a political issue among African Americans? Maybe an issue so big that it led to protests and the unprecedented spectacle of the U.S. AFRICOM commander bumbling and stumbling over himself on Kenyan TV. Has the U.S. government recently suffered great international embarrassment over racial discrimination in the U.S. and its support for foreign apartheid regimes? Has the Palestinian issue increasingly become a front-burner topic both in Africa and in the African American community? Is an African country leading the genocide case against Israel at the ICJ? Are African countries asserting their sovereign right to not support Israel? Are African American activists leading aid expeditions to Gaza, creating negative publicity for Rambusan's Middle Eastern love child? Is there increasing political awareness on both sides of the Atlantic that Africans struggling with artificial deindustrialization and non-representative leaders who don't answer to them, and African Americans struggling with systemic poverty, discrimination, and exclusion from the American economy share the same ultimate imperial enemy? And if, as it was in 1978, the answer to all these questions is yes, then what preventive measures and actions could the CIA be taking to impede durable ties between U.S. Black organizations and radical groups in African states, and to sharpen social stratification in the Black community, giving rise to growing antagonism between different Black groups and a weakening of the movement as a whole? Sometimes we have more answers than questions.
Here we go.
Brother
Let me get
Divine.
my brother. Let me get brother Black and Sister Brooke up on the bridge. Welcome to Bronx, to the Brooklyn Bridge. Our brother Blacksmith, what's happening?
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? I see my big brothers up in here. I see my sisters up in the piece, and we about to have little sis join us. So let's go.
You ready, Sister Brooke? You ready? Brooke up on the Brooklyn Bridge. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
What's going on? Hello. Hi, Sister Marcia. Hi, Brother Black. Hi, Brother Tad. Hi, Big
Hey,
Sis
Sister Brooke.
Keish. And hi, President Divine. I'm glad to be here with you guys today.
Glad to have you, sis. So, Brother Divine, your feeling on when this video was showed at the outset of this meeting that took place in Brooklyn a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, I think two things. When I first looked at it, right, I come from, a sports background growing up. And obviously this is before social media because we're a little bit older and long in the tooth. I'll speak for myself. I'm a little bit long in the tooth, even though I don't look it. And two of the sayings that we always heard growing up in sports is, oh, 1 second, my bad. Hold on.
Look, his alarm going off. He just started cooking and it's already smoking.
We'll let Sister Brooke give her 1-2 on how she felt when this happened. Unmute, sis.
As soon as that video went off, my hand was like this. I already had questions because
we got that video too, sis.
I couldn't wait for it to be over because and I was just so happy that we was there because they started off crazy. And it's like you started off and they were gonna have, I want you guys to understand that they were gonna have this conversation and say all of that and not have one single solitary full-blooded FBA in the building. They sat there and said that we were CIA, that we were plants. This is the same exact, and you know what? This is the same exact talking point from the Democratic Party during the election, when they kept saying that both times, both elections, okay? When they kept saying that we was Russian bots, and we was this and we was that, and we not real people. And so I was just so happy that, that we were there in the flesh. So they could sit there and say whatever they want, but we wasn't online. Okay. We was outside.
Could it be that there are more Caribbean and Africans combined than African Americans in Brooklyn now?
No.
Is that
Well,
possible?
I don't know
In
if that's the
Flatbush.
numbers, but I know in that area, which is why
Yeah, in
I
that
went.
area,
Because
definitely.
why? But that was my point. So as President Divine said last week, initially I was hemming and hawing because I had to work that night. So I left, Sister Keisha knows we were running out of there so I could be to work on time. You know what I mean? And so I wasn't sure if I was going to go initially because I thought it was in Bed-Stuy. So I thought it was going to be a balanced conversation. But when I saw that the conversation was in Flatbush, that already was a disingenuous conversation because there's not many of us in Flatbush. So I knew it was going to be one-sided when I went there because I'm from East Flatbush and I'm like the only FBA. So I don't know any. So I already knew what it was going to be. So yes, in one part you could say that that could be a reason why they did it, but I am going to give you gentle pushback and say that they knew that that's how it was, and that's why they did it that way.
Brother Devon, you can unmute and give us your perspective.
Okay. Yeah, they must have knew the heat was coming. They turned the alarm up on me before I could even get it out. So yeah, like I was saying, two sayings that come up that we grew up hearing in sports is one, don't believe your own press, right? Because from week to week is gonna change. And two, when we're talking about from a sports perspective, is the game doesn't count unless you have an opponent, right? Without an opponent, it's practice. So you can go out there, you can hit as many shots as you want, you can run from end zone to end zone. If there's not somebody trying to stop you, then it's just practice. The points don't count. And so I'm bringing those up because what we have here is, and no shade, our Sister Marcia, I know, she it's all love with Sister Marcia, but what we have is too many of the Afro immigrants that have come here, they've read their own press. And so what the press has told them is that you work harder than foundational Black Americans. You're elevated not because white supremacy, but because they're lazy, but because their culture is degenerate. And what happens is that as they hang around us and experience us for themselves firsthand, they start to find out that a lot of those tropes and a lot of those talking points are just untrue. So what happens when you've built up your entire identity on the press that was fed to you? You either have to humbly come and say, damn, I got it all wrong. And to their credit, some of them do. And most of those become our friends and like family. And in some cases, even marry and procreate into our families. But far too many of them, when they find out the press was all wrong and the tropes were untrue, but their identity is built on that, they resort to what we saw in that video. You have to find reasons and talking points to prove the press true, or at least to convince yourselves and others that the press is true. And so what we saw in that video, and why we knew it was off on the wrong foot from the beginning, even if we didn't hear nothing else and it wasn't even based in any level of fact, even though the best lies do have a little bit of truth into it, the minute he opened up the video and said, oh, the so-called that call themselves FBA or American descendants of slavery, we off on the wrong foot. We off on the wrong foot. But we knew we were in the wrong place at the right time because everybody agreed with those quotation marks. Everybody agreed that it was so-called and that we should be whatever that they called. And I'm going to give y'all a Black American proverb that my mother taught me growing up. It ain't what they call you, it's what you answer to. And so you could call me whatever you want, but I know who I am. And we went in there and told them who we are, whether you agree with it or not. And I'll land on this point, so I'll take a breath, is that the issue I have with that video is the same issue I have with their Honorable Mosiah Garvey. Is that try as they might, all the history and perspective they can give is the Black American experience filtered through their Afro-immigrant lens. They have not lived our life, so they can't tell us about our history firsthand. It is an interpretation of what they think that history is. And that's why you could have a video taking that little bit of fact and trying to make it fit the narrative. When there's another saying in sports, and I really will land here, is that when they say, oh, these ain't your fathers or your grandfathers, insert any team, saying that that team is different from the current team. And so in that spirit, I need them to understand that reading from the document that they were reading from, today ain't your grandfather's Pan-Africans. Back then, they was on some type of time. They were standing on some business. Today, that ain't them.
Ooh, Brother Tad, your feelings. Because, you know, you requested that we play this, so your feelings.
Yeah, because it was something I never heard before. And I like to think myself as somebody who read, you know, I don't retain all the information, sis, but you know, you and I, we like to deep dive, we like to study, we like to reference and cross-reference. That's why I say a lot of this stuff was rhetoric. It's my favorite R word. Next to rich, getting rich. Rhetoric. Now, I never heard any of that stuff. Have you, Divine? Have you ever read Memorandum 46? That memo that they cited? Someone in the chat, Nikki Hayes, said, I need to see that video. Shout out to you, Nikki Hayes. Thank you for coming through, rocking out with us. We played the video in the beginning of the show. It's a 5-minute video. It was citing the memorandum. And to add on to what you said, Brother Divine and Sister Brooke, I felt the same sentiment. The so-called, you know, this FBA ADOS. They were starting on the wrong foot, claiming we were CIA operative. And I was like, I never heard this information before. Let me look up Memorandum 46. Looked it up, Google. Okay, whole bunch of them. Went to chat. Yo, chat, what's up with Memorandum 46? He said, which one? It's 3 of them. I said, the one from March 17th, 1978. Oh, that one's a forgery. It was dismissed back in 1970 something. Really, the original Memorandum 46 deals with foreign relations in South America. Really? So why did they do that? Oh, boom, boom, boom. Part of the propaganda rhetoric said, how do we know it's fake? So many institutions scrutinized it and critiqued it, and there was too many grammatical errors in it, as well as spelling Zygmunt Brzezinski, whatever his name is, they spelled that wrong as well. And when you go to the archives of whatever organization files all this stuff, it shows you the real one. So again, Pan-African propaganda. Because even when I asked the question about delineation, you remember what that dude said, right, Brother Divine? He lied. He wasn't honest. But since he was an elder and he was from the Uhuru movement, which we discredited a long time ago with flaming homos and white folks in leadership, I don't know how you African-centered, but that's a whole nother story. But again, this is a PDF, and it was also printed in the final call, citing a U.S. court case, a U.S. Supreme Court case, 009587 or something like 8795. I looked that up. That does not exist. However, this is in the 70s where you print anything, long as black people see it, they believe it. And that's what has happened. So they're running with regurgitated rhetoric that's antiquated. But here's a continental African trying to get black Americans, black history, black U.S. history, which is an insult, a contradiction, and a conflict within itself. And I'm gonna stop right there. So bottom line, that memorandum he cited in that video is bullshit. With a capital B and shit. It's bullshit. So it's not a CIA operative.
So, like I said, Brother Tad has tons of footage. And so tonight, we're going to play this footage. What took place at this meeting, we're going to stop and pause, and we'll give commentary. But again, you have a panel of 4 people, not one full FBA on the panel, but it's about coming together in unity. That too is a problem. How can you have such a meeting and none of us are on the panel? Again, well, I like to play the footage and let people see for themselves.
Hey, Sister Keisha, before you do that, I want to ask a question real quick.
Go ahead.
According to the government, not us,
Mm-hmm.
like let's say a Jamaican and a Trinidadian had a child in America, and then they have children with an African American. When is the delineation begin or start?
You have no ties to American slavery in this country. You are an immigrant. I don't care how many times you procreate. If you cannot trace your ancestry in the United States to enslavement in the United States
and prior
or beyond, you are an immigrant, no matter how many times you procreate. Now,
thank you.
You have one line of your family that is from here and you can trace it, then you have that line. But if you have none, there is none. It's just like if I move to Honduras and I meet a Honduran man and we have a child, and that child stays in Honduras, but a Haitian comes over and that child and the Haitian have a child, they are not Honduran. They're immigrants, period. Just like people who are expats and they move to the continent of Africa or places in the Caribbean, they're still American all day long. You can't claim a legacy that isn't yours. And that's a problem. And like I said before, some of that is our fault because we have allowed people to claim a part of who we are in flat blackness. And that's one of the reasons why Pan-Africanism is failing and is outdated in its process. And we're going to talk about some of that, but I'm going to play this and we'll come right back. Hold on.
What was you doing before America existed? Because our people have existed before this land was called the Americas. And what were you then? Who were you then? Who were you then? You know what I'm saying? Again, you did. And what was your identity then?
Just for clarification, this is the young man from Uhuru movement.
Yep.
As he was so proud of that shit, where you have homosexuals and white people in leadership in this movement, but you're Pan-Africanist. Also, there were 2 white women in the audience.
Who brought the white people?
One sitting behind me, the other one to the side with her lesbian immigrant lover.
Mm-hmm.
So again,
I got that too. I snuck some of them on there.
Yes,
so can I just interject for real quick? So they was gonna have not one single full blood FBA, but they made sure to have 2 white women in the crowd. I just want to point that out.
If they were South African, they African American.
Show is.
You want to say American,
and that's why we delineate.
Again. So say that. Let's say that. Let's say that. Let's go back to the origin. Let's not define ourselves based upon our relationship. Listen. If it don't apply, let it fly. If it don't apply, let it fly. I'm not your enemy. You ain't enemy.
You're gonna get your chance.
Again, I never cut you off while you were speaking either.
Chill. You're gonna get your chance to talk. Please do not do that. Please.
I'm speaking directly to what's being said.
And then when you get a chance to talk, please.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
If it don't apply, let it fly. The shoe must be fitting in a lot in here. Then again, black people built America. Yes, we built America, but look, I can take a hammer and build a house, but I'm not going to give the credit to that hammer. Black people built America for who? Not for us. Because we're not benefiting from America. America is a racist, terrorist entity. America is a terrorist organization.
Oh boy. Oh my God. Shut the fuck up.
All over again.
You know, I just want to say, when you listen to the tonation, the delivery, that's that 1960s and 70s antiquated America built the bed, we ain't land on Plymouth Rock land on. You ain't Malcolm X, my G. Part one. Part two. Here's the mind screw. Shout out to Dr. Covington. She laid this on me. We know that we were here prior to, so it's easy for a non-FBA to say we built this for white people. No, we were already here. This land was already here, already developed, already cultivated. This land was here. We had nations or whatever you want to call it. Those things already existed, right? But what the European did was convince us, some of us, not all of us, that all of us come from somewhere else. And they could lay claim to the land. And we should be trying to claim another land, even though this is ours, right? But check this. This the funny part in 2025. Everybody's running here. All the black people are running here, trying to live, and trying to convince the black people here to run somewhere else. That's the same shit the white folks did. Say, you ain't from here. You ain't got no history. You're from Africa. Meanwhile, all of the scholars will agree, all of them will agree, that black people were already here prior to Europeans coming. That, and with our enslavement. We know that these people mixed and mingled without European influence. But what we talk about, and I said it later in the video, we talked about the political strategy and identification of what it is to be a foundational Black American. And this is when homie was talking, I got so upset that I realized I still got some growing to do to regulate my emotions, because can't nobody from the Uhuru movement tell me shit. Part one. When you had that flaming homo Gazi Kozo with the red, black, and green twerking all over the place, and y'all supported that, and then had white folks in leadership talking about their Pan-African and death to Babylon and imperial powers, they not killing their grandparents, and they're not going to denounce their kids. That white folks doing that was rhetoric as well. And that's when I said, hold up, something ain't right here. So that dude represents that. And I just had to get that off my chest because he sounded stupid. So I never even addressed his dumb ass. But yeah, I just had to put that out there.
America is a terrorist group. America is an illegitimate settler colony. So if you're taking credit and say I built America, then you again, you participate in your own self-destruction. America exists at the expense of Black people all around the world.
Like I said, why everybody coming here?
Because the crackers were over there. So anyway, go ahead.
So I have one question, and then I would like to say some things, but I do want to get this question out. So when you were talking about Bajans that came here 100 years ago, right? Do you think that those Bajans deserve, if they do not have any foundational Black American blood, do you think that they qualify for reparations here?
Oh, I can answer that.
Yes, please.
Well, so the great thing is,
yes,
the great thing is, someone like me, I would still get it because my father.
I didn't say you.
But no, I didn't finish. I did not finish. Okay. I didn't finish.
Okay.
Which was about what was my overall takeaway about how nuanced we are. So the great thing is,
why would you?
But wait, no, hold on. So Barbados actually set to Parliament citizenship for people all the way down to great grandchildren. No, wait a minute. Hold on. I am answering your question if you allow the patience. I talk slower than other folks. Bear with me. So I want to be deliberate about what I'm saying, and also be kind to everyone and respectful to everyone. And the question that you're asking me is something that I haven't thought about, because as someone born here in 1976, I always viewed reparations as being part of who I am, not separated from. I don't even view myself born 1976, great-grandparents on one side coming here in 1922, totally socialized as always being here, right? This is how society views me, or as always being here, whether that is true or not true. So the question you posed to me has never been posed to me before. I always viewed reparations in alignment with my politics. So now, would I think that my great-grandfather, he didn't die until I was 32 years old? I've asked him thousands of questions, and reparations was never one of them. He never wanted to go back, quote unquote, home. He never did. I don't know how he would view that. But in terms of a Bajan person specifically, that country is opening up citizenship for its descendants, for which they have their own reparations battle with England. So I still might get 2 checks, so to speak.
Pause. Pause. You see the slickness here? Go ahead, Sister Brooke, because she get heat all over again.
Yo, son, she was pissing me off. Round and round the mulberry bush, ain't saying shit. I look, I don't care. You supposed to be a New Yorker. She kept talking about how she a lifelong New Yorker. Well, get to the point. You know how we do. We don't have no time for no games. Hurry up. And then I need you to spit it out in a New York minute. You ain't down south. You're not going to get that. Only my Southern family get that kind of grace. You want to get it. You supposed to be here with us. Hurry up.
You should have told the show and prove, God.
I wish I could, but they would not allow us to speak. They kept cutting us off, and they sat there and let her run round and round the mulberry bush for like 20 minutes. She was pissing me off, and she kept doing that. Every time I asked her a specific and direct question, it's what day is it? It's October the 2nd. She ain't answered me yet. She ain't answered my question yet. I said, for those Bajans who have been here for 100 years, do you think that they qualify without any FBA blood? Do you think they qualify for reparations? That was my question. Ask me. All y'all heard that BS. She said all that dribble that fell out of her mouth. Did she answer me?
Yes, she did. She gonna get 2 checks, one from England and one from the United States.
I specifically asked not her.
Sure enough,
that was part of my question. So I'm respectfully, I'm gonna shut that down. I said not her. So I'm gonna ask the question again. Did she answer me as of October the 2nd, at 8:48 p.m.? Did she answer my question yet? And I'm gonna take that as a no. She made me hot. I apologize. I'm sorry. She made me hot. I'm hot again.
So to make me hot this year.
I can't stand when people do that. When I'm asking you direct questions, we don't have much time. I said I wanted to ask my question, then I had points to make. I would ask her a direct question that she had to say is yes or no, and she went off into this poetry slam. She don't sit her ass down. Yo, she was pissing me off, and then the moderator was letting her do it.
Yes, the moderator was letting them ramble, but cutting us off. Let's continue while Sister Brooke calm down. Hold on, here we go.
I'm being funny, trying to lighten the mood. But those of us that have a mixed legacy,
How would that work? How would that work if you have a mixed legacy?
You need to appeal to the nation of which you originate from. And
so
that's one of the problems.
That's a great question. So
that's
then
one of the problems, because a lot of folks who come from the diaspora or their folks come from the diaspora can only go back 1 or 2 generations from that area because the countries, as you know it, didn't exist. But we were already here in the 1500s.
Well,
so again,
no, I just wanted to respond to that piece. So then,
again, you need to appeal to Grenada, or Grenada must appeal to, excuse me, Guyana. I apologize.
how would, no, I was just saying, how would that work paternally for someone like me? How would that work paternally? And these are honest questions.
It's the same here. Your ancestors,
Yes.
whoever they are,
Yes.
from Barbados.
No, I mean paternally. My father's family would be foundational
Right, so
as you describe it.
We can only trace back to 1880.
Right.
So you
No. That was on my mother's side. That's mother.
So you,
Yo, she just moved the goalpost real quick.
No, let her.
hold on. Y'all want us to chill? You gotta chill too.
I'm
When
trying
I'm
to listen. I'm
I
trying to
got you,
listen.
brother. I got you. You would qualify because you do have a line that goes back to the enslavement in this country. If you don't, go elsewhere and appeal your claim. Stop leaning on, and that's the problem with Pan-Africanism. You all have been leaning on our legacy for so long. You don't know how to stand on your own.
I don't necessarily. That is absolutely not true.
Hold on, the first.
Wait, hold on.
I
Wait,
said what I said.
Hold on. Everybody's
I really
getting,
think some more.
everybody getting hyped.
1804.
Everybody's hyped. No, we can't say, stand on, other people don't know how to stand on their own. That is completely ahistorical.
Here.
That would also be ahistorical. That is ahistorical.
Right. I stand on his
You would not
Name
be
it.
able to say
Slavery was not a separate issue, though.
right.
It is.
Whoa.
It is.
Right.
It is.
Stand on your own.
Different in every area.
When you go to Cap Haitian. No, when you go to Cap Haitian in Haiti, Labadie in Haiti, those were the bricks that were used to build New Orleans, right? That is global, right? The ships that came to Peck Slip, those were global. So who was standing? African people. We've had slave rebellions. Where did they come from? We've all stood. The idea that there is some, the idea, and that's where I have to offer the correction. No, because I want folks to share their experiences in a way in which we would learn. But what we cannot do is speak as though other kinds of people have not achieved, accomplished, rebelled, fought back, left legacies. We cannot say that. This idea that we cannot say that. We cannot say that. Hey, no, the comment was Caribbean people have leaned for too long. That is inaccurate. Because the leaning,
Yes, let's skip a little bit of this because
you know, because see, I told you I know how to hit a dagger. I can hit you in your chest from 50 yards away, brother. I can hit you straight in your chest because I already know that they couldn't dispute anything. They can only say, well, you can't say this, you can't say that. Nobody said I was a liar.
Right.
Your feelings is hurt. It's just the truth. Whatever you came to, we established it for you to come here, to thrive, to get jobs. You know, a lot of these city jobs here in New York being filled by a lot of immigrants. We made that happen, standing on business. It's not the other way around. It's not. Now, if, like I said, if we expat and go somewhere else, you can say you prepared something, but you haven't. That's why you here. That's why you here. Because what you thought you can get at home lied to you. So you had to leave for a better way. It's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that. But you cannot say that you were in the foreground of anything here when your lineage didn't start here. Like I said, even Garvey himself said he came to learn from us. He came to learn from Booker T. Yeah. He asked them, where is your Booker T? Where's your Fred Douglass? You have yet to produce him. Today, October 2nd, 2025, you still haven't. There is discord in your homeland with each other. We've learned from the past. We have to get rid of the gatekeepers first. Go ahead, Brother Divine.
Yeah, I just wanted to read real quick because I know we got a lot of footage to get through, so I won't be long-winded, I promise. But I wanted to just point out a couple things. One, spoiler alert, like Sister Brooke said, that's that bi-ethnic sister from Barbados and from Black America. She hasn't answered the question, and she doesn't answer the question the entire episode, and she can't ever answer the question because the answer to that question blows a hole in the foundation of Pan-Africanism in the way in which they practice it. She cannot admit that they do not get what we are owed, because that's the entire foundation of Pan-Africanism is built on the flimsy example that she gave with the bricks. There are reaches that they make and connections that they hodgepodge together with super red, black, and green glue to say, look, there's a connection. We're the same. We're owed what you're owed, and there's no need to delineate. That's one. Two, I won't give a spoiler because I think we got that footage of Brother Tad putting the jacket on the brother when he says certain things. But I wanted to just point out that hammer talking point sounds eerily similar to another group of people that compare us to inanimate objects, specifically farming or field equipment, when they're trying to diminish our contribution to this country. And I'll just leave that there. But it was something in the video. I don't know if all of y'all caught that, but I caught it there, and I'm glad Brother Tad has captured it on this video. Two things about that brother from the Uhuru movement, aka the twerking movement. I ain't know nothing about the twerking. I don't want to know, but now I'm glad that I do know. He said, in addition to the hammer comment, he got up and said, yeah, the whole stolen land, settler colony bullshit. But he said something very, very, very profound. He said, we built this country. Black people built America, and he's not foundational Black American. And then when Sister Brooke, so that's what he said when he had his time to speak. And then secondly, when Sister Brooke asked that bi-ethnic sister about, do you think those Caribbean, specifically Bajans that have been in the country for 100 years, do you think they deserve or get reparations? He butt in before they silenced him, and he said, why would you even want reparations? That's what he was saying when he got silenced. And so I'm just pointing that out to show you the energy and the disrespect that's already in the room. On one hand, you can say that you're us and that we built it together. And on the other end, it's like, no, you don't deserve any type of redress unless we can get it. And if it's only going to be for you, why do you want it anyway? And that's the duality and the duplicitousness of this movement, in which they are gaslighting and using against us to either make sure they get it, or like an abusive relationship. If I can't have it, nobody can. And that's how they're viewing our reparations.
letting me, voice my opinion.
What's that supposed to, bro?
But I just hope that y'all know that
people
are getting killed out here. And if the military come in here, all of this stuff that y'all talking about, I work in the morgue. I do more. I zip body bags for a living. They just shot a lady from my grandmother's building. You know what I'm saying? It's getting violent out here because people are losing resources. It's gonna get more violent in here. And I'm telling you, I dealt against this all my life. This gangster government, they ain't going nowhere. And I'm telling y'all right now, I hope I'm wrong, because I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? I don't want it to come to no real violence. But it looks like it's gonna come to that. And I'm telling you, be prepared. All of this stuff y'all talking about, I take very lightly. Right. Because I see a lot of people get shot and killed. I take very lightly. When the military come in here, Jenny, nobody gonna give a fuck.
That's not true.
You better man up like the Vietnamese.
That's not true.
And be prepared for the fucking job. You be prepared. You know when the military come in,
make your move.
You got?
Make
what
your
economic
move.
system you got over there? What are you
I'm
going to do?
Make that move.
You got to brush your gun?
Cowards.
So brother Devon was like, "Oh shit, it's about to get heavy."
Wait, why is it getting so
totally off topic? We're not talking about that, and that's diversion tactics right there. You the ops, mother effer. That's why I'm like, make your move. Sorry, Sister Marcia. Go ahead. Sister Marcia.
No, I just want to understand why people can't stay on topic. And this is one of the main problems that I have with a lot of public meetings, that people don't stay on topic. They're running their mouth on everything, and moderators aren't doing their job to make sure that the conversation stays in places where it's supposed to stay. Like this young man talking about America's been violent. America's birth on violence. You know, whatever, whether you were already here and your people were assassinated or you were stolen and brought over here. It's through violence. I'm not sure why people are confused about this. And I don't know, these public forums and bad moderators.
I agree with you 100%, sis. You know, and the funny part, it is the deflection. You know how many shootouts I had out here? That's the fake tough guy talk. Part one. Part two, you know, this government going nowhere. The big, bad, scary boogeyman, white man. Like, come on, man. Yo, empires rise and fall all the time, man. But again, this is our lineage, our legacy of constantly fighting, no matter how big and bad you are. We've always fought. I tell people, we didn't get our emancipation through the benevolence of white people. We fought for it. We killed for it. When they talk about the migration from the South, it wasn't running from white people. It was running because dudes was putting heads out. So in order not to get locked up and hung from trees, we bounced. Everybody wasn't just running up north because somebody was scared. Nah, we handled business. But that's the part of the story that's not told. So these people regurgitate things they think is true, just like the elder lying about delineation. So much of this is rhetoric. And they don't know because, again, the big, bad white boogeyman, he talking about resources. What you come here for? If it ain't no resources here, what you doing here? Go back home. But I digress. You got a lot to cover.
Also on that real quick, right? So, and Sister Keisha, I mean, she just beautifully and masterfully, you know, called him out, cut right through the chase. Because here's the false premise that they're coming from. There are too many problems for us to delineate. That's just an idiotic, stupid concept, because all these issues already exist, will continue to exist, but more importantly, delineation does help it. And that is the real issue that they don't want to get to the bottom of. Delineation does solve a lot, right? Because they get to talk out of both sides of their mouth. And that's what was stopped with us being there. And the reason why you get all these tactics being implemented is because these are the tactics that they use to justify their rationalization, right? When they're amongst themselves and we're not in the room, and somebody might ask, most of the times they don't, but in case of somebody asking, well, I mean, maybe delineation isn't that bad. They'll bring up this bullshit ass talking point. Well, yeah, we don't have time to focus on it though, because look how many people are dying. And this is based on the false premise that we've already posted receipts about over and over again, and we're debunking in real time. The concept that we don't need to delineate because all this violence coming from the big white boogeyman doesn't discriminate based on different ethnic groups. And we already know that's a lie. Malcolm X talked about it when he debated James Farmer and told them how the white supremacists, if you spoke Spanish and you were melanated, or you tied your head with a turban and was melanated, you were exempt from the treatment that they visited on those of us that had ancestors that was enslaved and emancipated in this country, aka the foundational Black Americans. Muhammad Ali talked about after winning the gold medal for the country, there were places that he could not go eat that continental Africans could. There's a story of a continental African during Jim Crow going into an establishment and getting his hair cut because he told them, I am not a Negro, aka I am not those foundational Black Americans. So there is example after example after example where this country has shown that they have preferred the Afro immigrants to the foundational Black Americans for a plethora of reasons that we can eventually get into if we need to go there. But the bottom line is that this false premise that we don't need to delineate because we all are the same and get the same treatment from the white man, which is already flawed, is also flawed and untrue. It's shown that in cases where the accent or the name can delineate them from us, their outcomes are different. And it's measurable when we see the financial and economic outcomes. So we have to address this and address it in good faith. But unfortunately, in these spaces, they can't, because their entire movement is built on the bad faith concepts and talking points. And that's what we found going into that room.
Can I just add something? I would like to add something to his point. In the news, the superintendent of Iowa's largest school district, this is like case in point right here of what he is saying. This man became the superintendent of one of the largest districts in Iowa, making $300,000 a year. He was faking a degree from an HBCU.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't even legal in the country. I worked in schools. You have to pass a background check to mop the floor in a school. You have to pass a background check to cook the food. You could have no contact with the children at all. You know what I'm saying? If you are an employee and you're in that building on a regular basis, you have to pass a background check. How in the hell? There's no way in the hell that you could tell me that nobody knew that this man's papers wasn't right. Everybody knew. And let me tell you something, as a Black American, I have seen how they push out, and this is no matter what the lineage, I have seen them push out straight Black males in education, ones that actually mean the students good. I have seen it with my own eyes. They make it so uncomfortable that the men cannot thrive in an environment like that, and they leave. That's what happens. So I've seen it. So what made this man so important? What was he doing, and who was he doing it for? That they took so many chances to allow him to become this man with no degree.
He was
not
a yes
even
man.
a citizen.
He was a yes man.
What?
And he
That's
was a yes man.
He's more than a yes man. I want to know the plan. I want to know the plot. I want to know who put him up to it. This broad thing that we keep doing allows the people that allowed him to do it to go free, because right now they're only focusing on locking him up. No. I want to know who passed his paperwork along, because like I said, there's no way in the world that there could be a foundational Black American with any kind of record that they would allow to become the superintendent, much less a teacher or the janitor. So, like I said, when we talk, so it begs the question: when we get pulled over by the police, are we getting treated the same? Because it is evident that we're not getting treated the same in the workplace. And I just wanted to prove Divine's point there. That's him. I didn't even see what was happening. That is him. This is the craziest. And wait a minute. Hold on. Wait, fat with a what? I didn't see that one. She's digging up
a gun and $3,000 US.
So with that said, was it an ICE thing or like somebody exposed him? What's the tea on it?
On how he was exposed? I don't know how he's exposed. That part I'm not too sure, like how it actually came out. But like I said, I do know that you have to pass extensive background checks from the city.
And he started in Baltimore.
Exactly. He's been doing this
to, what is this, Maine or Iowa, whatever the hell.
No, they've been allowing him to do this, Marcia. Not he.
Yes,
he's not a mastermind. They've been allowing him to do this.
Absolutely.
He's been getting pass after pass after pass.
Because he's a yes man. And yes, they're allowing him to say yes. And as soon as he said no to something, maybe that's when they started pulling out his records. Oh, well, then we'll tell the world who you really are. Because that's what happens when you're a yes person.
How many foundational Black Americans needed those jobs? Needed that job.
He was flagged.
Who had the actual requirements and did not get it.
Absolutely.
He was flagged because ICE, and I keep telling y'all, you better make sure your paperwork is right. You better make sure your parents and grandparents' paperwork is right. He got flagged because they are rechecking every naturalized citizen. Every naturalized citizen is going through the ring mill. And so he got flagged. And that's how the investigation started.
I wasn't 100%.
He wasn't even naturalized.
He was pushed through faulty paperwork.
He wasn't even naturalized.
He was here on a student visa. He never went back.
Right.
And a lot of people did that, work visas, student visas, and then try to clean it up later. But I keep telling everybody, you better check that work because everybody is being put through investigation. So that's what happened. The same with, I believe, a police officer in Maine. He too got flagged. You had a Jamaican man here in Harlem who had an organization, I think an organization, community organization for violence or whatever. He too flagged.
Yep.
So,
and his son is,
go ahead.
His son was something, and they were like, "Oh my God, he went to jail. He's reformed. He's this." Who cares? At the end of the day, you do right by the people that you're amongst, and don't try to play a game. And they keep playing the long game, and they're getting caught with it.
Yep. So let's play and come right back.
Do make your move.
Okay, let's stop the back. Bro. Okay, hold on, relax. Okay, no, you're not. You talk the truth, bro. You talk the truth. You talk the truth.
Pause real quick. I told him to make his move because see, tough talk, that don't move me. You know, I come from a family with real gangsters, real G's.
Yep.
I got friends and boyfriends, you know, prior boyfriends, but who were real ones out here. Real ones. The connect. So I'm not, that stuff don't fear me. Because one phone call and it's up for all y'all. So, you know, don't try to say, you know, you want me to bust my guns. Go ahead. Handle your business. But he sat his ass back down with that fanny pack, didn't he? Let's continue. My brother Sage gonna go in. Hold on.
You still talking about identities, man. You gotta bust your, be ready to bust your gun. You talk the truth. Go ahead. Thank you, bro. That's a
I want to first of all, I want to thank you, brother. I think you're very sincere on what you're doing out here, bringing us out here. I want to thank you first of all. I want to thank all of the Black people here. I don't think that anyone is non-Black. I've never been on that. Shout out to the brother. I think that there is a violence issue that we need to address, but I think the real problem with that will be stemming from white supremacy, which is the true enemy of all Black people. I get that. Now, the person that I am, without giving away too much of my profession, the Labor Day parade that just passed, Mayor Bill de Blasio wanted to stop that. I and myself and two other people, a male and a female, argued with that mayor, specifically because of my job, and that Labor Day parade, because if you guys don't know, he took that away for about, specifically Juve too. He took that away. Now, I want to preface this.
Hold on.
But I did that for
Yeah. When he talks about that one part, can we fast forward that part? You know what I'm talking about, Sister Keisha? I'm concerned for him. You on mute.
About his profession?
Yes, that part. Can we fast forward that part?
Yeah,
I didn't like that he said that. I didn't like that he said that at all. I was like, oh my God, don't ever do that. So yeah, if you just thank you. I appreciate. I didn't mean to do that live, but I had to say something in my spirit.
For you guys. Shout out to you guys. Enjoy yourself. That's fine. Here's my thing. Because it was mentioned. Okay, that's fine. If you don't want it, that's fine. But here's my thing. It was mentioned that FBA was somewhat of a psyop that was created by the government. I myself personally know Tariq Nasheed. He is not no fucking psyop. He does not work for the government. I also know and met in person Jason Black. He's not no fucking government agent. Excuse my language. These guys are genuine and they are trying to teach pride in us that come from this soil. There's nothing wrong with that. When I grew up, I was called just Black. What the fuck does that mean? You're just Black. The guy Kazinat, I don't forget where he's from. We're just Black. But my thing is that, brother, you have on Jordans. You're dressing like us. This brother's fly right here. Shout out to your outfit. He's dressing like us. He's not dressing like someone from Guyana. So when you guys say that we don't have no culture, that's incorrect. I'm not saying you. I'm just addressing the whole thing. Me and my family over here. Matter of fact, that lady standing right there that don't stop speaking. She shut down a whole nail salon from Asians that were mistreating Black people. Her. Stand up, bro. Her. Stand up, bro. Her. Now. Now.
She started
that. Now, when she did that. Now, when she did that, the people that went up.
Pause real quick. Why didn't the Caribbean community jump that off? Why did she have to do that? This is your neighborhood.
And point out that at that time I'm living in Queens. But that's the neighborhood where I grew up in, though. You know what I mean? But I technically live in Queens now.
Check. And
so I had to go across the Jackie to go handle business that I didn't like.
FBA. Jackie's FBA too.
Holla.
But again, where was your pull-up? She had to come and start it off. You came later. But you know, and I bet you, you know, I wanted to ask, you know, did they even know her name? Did they know Miss Thelma? Did you go meet with her? I did.
No.
Brother Tad
They
did.
wasn't out there the first time. They wasn't out there. They was at that second, whatchamacallit. So they never even, they wasn't even at that first nail shop. Well, some of them, I will say some of them. The one of them, the one on the stage, he was at the first one. Or he helped promote. I'll put it that way. He didn't show up, but he did help promote the first one. But the rest of them, they was at the second nail salon. Yeah, not the first one. That was already closed by the time they got involved. I'm just saying.
Here we go, family.
Against her, that black sister right there, were Caribbeans.
Wait,
I'm gonna give you an after, sis. Sis, I got you.
We didn't say you weren't
She's
there.
the one that started her. But hold on, because this is no attack. What I would say too is that I think it's disingenuous to say. She's the one that started it. That's what I'm saying. She's the one that started it. Her. I got you. So again, I think that you know, we were at a lot of reparations hearings. And there were people that were not of our lineage that came out speaking against it, saying that everyone should really receive reparations. Now, hold on before you guys jump up, because my brother asked a great question. I do believe that everyone should receive reparations, but not from the government that they were not enslaved from. Why is that? Because you have to go to England to get your reparations. They did not enslave you here. And here's my thing. I believe my brother is from Jamaica. Haiti needs to go to France. Absolutely. Go get your money. But I will never stand in the way of a Haitian getting their fucking money from the French government. Matter of fact, I'll fight with you to go get your damn money. I respect that. But here's my thing, brother. Talk to your people and tell them to fight with us. Because at the end of the day, you got people like Winston Sears that say that we should not have a Black History Month. You got people like, what's that dude from, was it DC or Baltimore? Westmore that say we should not get reparations because his mother is from Jamaica.
So how come the Jews get reparations from America and not America?
The Jews get reparations from America because America created the state of Israel and we have to subsidize them. Even though, don't get me wrong, I don't want them to get no money. I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. When I say me, I'm talking about USA. But my thing is again, I, and my sister knows this, behind the scenes, I've fought not just for us. I've fought, when I say us, I'm talking about my lineage. I fought for everyone. I go, without giving away too much, whenever I see any mistreatment for anyone of my skin tone,
I think it's right
I
here.
make sure that liens are put on this.
I applaud it. Yeah.
All right. Let me move that up. Hold on. I want to go here. Hold on.
To the brother that had his hand up over here. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, let me say one thing. My name is Malik, by the way, and I function with the Uhuru movement, right? And I'm an African internationalist, right?
So
what I want to say is, and we firmly believe, and I firmly believe that if you got on the boat as an African, you got off the boat as an African. Our history didn't start in no cotton patch in Mississippi.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There was a great man, a great African, who said that I'm not an American, I'm not a flag waver, because, you know, there's no such thing as a second-class citizen. You're a citizen or you're not, right? So that was Malcolm X. He was a great man, right? Great African, right? And let me say to the sister that said that she was down with the nail salon demonstrations, the Uhuru movement was out there at every demonstration that they had around these Asians who beat this grandmother and her nieces over at that nail salon. We've been at a number of places where African women were attacked in these nail salons. And to be here in 2025 and have...
Hold on. What number of places? What number of places with your white leadership in your Huru movement.
And that flaming dude, Ghazi. Don't forget Ghazi, because I thought he was.
Taylor Ghazi. Where you was at? And I'm so tired. You know, Jason Black like to say these old niggas talking stupid. But we'll let it play and we'll come right back. Hold on, family.
Have more smoke for African people, you know, than these Asians who whipped our women, beat them, threw poison on them, and you got more damn smoke for African people, which you are, because the problem is not that you're African. The problem is that you don't want to be African. That's the problem. You know what I mean? We are African people, and we'll be African people to the day we die, right? You know, we didn't start, like I said, in no cotton patch in Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? So that.
Pause. Shout out to Brother Kev, South Kakalaki building. He said Uhuru movement is Zionist funded. Of course.
We be knowing.
He knows. But I want you to look up what it means to sell something to someone. I want you all to find that definition. Because again, we were sold, kidnapped by African tribes on those lands. As Brother Devon said, you don't get to sell me twice. But look up the meaning of what it is when you sell something to someone else. What that transaction means. That means the person you sold it to now has possession. It no longer belongs to you. You can no longer claim it anymore. So I'm wearing a pink snapback. Now, if I sell it to Sister Brooke, I can't call it a pink snapback because she can do whatever she wants with it. She could dye it blue, purple, whatever. She could call it whatever she wants. It no longer is in my possession. When we were sold, that's why in other countries, they identify by that island and ethnicity. So if you're Jamaican, you call yourself Jamaican. You're Trinidadian, you call yourself Trinidadian. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're Barbadian, you call yourself Barbadian, whatever. This whole flat black Africanism, even though they say we aren't, time and time again, this is what I'm talking about. These idiots who want to hold on to an ideology because it makes them feel good. Tell me what tribe you came from over there. What is your native tongue? Because you old bastard is speaking English over here. See, they didn't want to hear that kind of commentary. That's why they kept cutting us off. Because I can give it to them all day long. Again, I wasn't going to go. But our direct lineage, our ancestors, the 5 of us, 6, including the sister, pulled up for a reason, mother effer. They built it here. I'm not turning that off to make you feel good. So let's continue. Listen to these old niggas. Hold on.
That's all I got to say about that, right? Whoa.
And then the gentleman in the between, and then you, brother.
Okay.
Did y'all see the white girl clapping when he said Uhuru? I guarantee you she's a member. I guarantee you. Probably was the girlfriend of the dude who was on the panel. I wouldn't
She
be
might be in leadership.
Probably.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead.
Appreciate you.
I definitely understand the conversation about identity, but I know one thing that we've all consistently been talking about is the money. And these people up here, these little bit of people up here got more money than like 500,000 times that we have. So the one thing that we can't get together on is that we need to be talking about money. Whether you're going to rallies, and I love all of that, but the money That needs to be the conversation. We don't need to talk about nothing else. But how y'all got all this money? We don't got nothing. I make over $100,000 a year, and every time I make another money, you take a quarter. That's the problem. And I don't know how the rest of your money is, but I know this much. Everybody's taking a piece like this. No matter, everybody's taking a piece.
Another off topic. Just standing up, talking off topic. We're not talking about your personal economic situation. That's not what the conversation was. That's not what the discussion was. The discussion was diaspora wars. Can we unify? And this is why we can't unify. Because it was a whole hit piece against Black Americans. A whole hit piece. But not one comment about the diaspora. Not one. As if they standing on pure business. I wanted to go deeper, but I didn't. But let me continue so we can go ahead.
And we're not getting together. So let's talk about how we're gonna get this money and how y'all keep taking it from us, and we just supposed to take it.
And I got
whether it's parking tickets, water bill, taxes, I can go on and on and on. That's one. And number two, I also think part of what's going on is definitely a spiritual war, where people's ideas and actions is going towards things that not even ain't helping themselves, but it ain't helping the greater.
One thing I will agree with, it is spiritual. Ours is awakened. Yours is fast asleep, mother effer. But I wasn't allowed to continue speaking because that's exactly what I wanted to say. You're right. It is a spiritual war. We are awakening. And you are dead fast asleep. That's why you off topic. Let's continue.
You're good. That's all I got to say.
And I had a question for you, bro. As far as that money, right? Because me personally, I'm not against Black Americans solely getting money from the U.S. government. Me personally, I don't care. You know what I mean? But I want to ask you, strategically speaking, do you think it's more likely for that money to come down with us united or divided? If we're delineating, sir. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I would be considered FBA if I believe in that philosophy, because all my ancestors was born right here, right? But I don't identify with that whatsoever, right? I don't identify with that. So I just want you to know.
It's not a philosophy, sucker.
He crazy. These old niggas. These old Pan-African niggas. Shut the hell up. Shut up.
Can I say something quick, Isha?
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, again, another one of these subversive tactics. If y'all didn't catch it, I'm on most of the chat did probably. I ain't read to see. But notice how he said, I'm not against Black Americans solely getting their money. But do you think they would get it faster if we're united or divided / delineated? So right there in that statement, one, it's a false premise out the gate, but two, he falsely conflated division with delineation. And that's the trick that they were playing the entire meeting. But that's, again, one of the tricks of the entire foundation of Pan-Africanism is to convince Black Americans that delineation is division. Because if you notice, that other brother that said, like Sister Key said, these old N-words, he also got up, and one thing he said was, we're African people because our history didn't start in the cotton field. The cotton field is something that is almost 100% exclusively used to reference the enslavement of our ancestors here in this country. Notice, though, they never say, oh, because we're just Africans because our history didn't start in the sugarcane fields. Or our history didn't start in the fields on the island of Saint Domingue or Haiti. You get what I'm saying? That tactic and that blunt object of an argument is only used against us to beat us into generic African submission.
And can I just
I'm
add
gonna
something?
touch that. Go ahead,
Hold on
Sister
one
Brooke.
second. Thank you so much. I just want to touch on something that he said really, really fast, right? The kicker is they will slow us down because you make our claim unconstitutional. And I'm going to just leave it right there.
Mic dropped.
Go ahead, Brother Black. You want to say something?
I think Sister Brooke said it for me. I ain't gonna say nothing. Thank you.
Uh-oh.
Know that.
So sorry.
Okay, brother.
I'm the only person in here who put up his hand when you said that you about reparations.
Yeah, I remember.
I'm the only one that, you know.
I was trying to keep that low.
But I ain't trying to hide that. I subscribe to a viewpoint that says that my number one principle is the best interest of African people worldwide. That's right. Hold, chill. I ain't here.
This guy is from Cobra and D12. Let's continue.
For justice. I ain't here for fairness. I ain't here because we are the original people on the planet. Because if we were the last group of people to crawl out of a cave, I would be about the best interest of African people first and foremost. I'm not here about question of fairness that somebody owes us. One of the things that irritates me, and I've been in organizations that have reparations as one of its principles. All right? I was a minister in the Republic of New Africa, the provisional government, whose leadership helped found Cobra. And I ain't about reparations. I was in for years in the Malcolm X grassroots movement. One of its principles of unity.
Pause. Because Sister Marcia and Sister Keisha asked the same question. Be careful who's moving around you. Now, if he's with Uhuru movement, that's sus. That's what he said. Be careful of these ops. And there's a lot of ops in that movement. A lot of ops in Pan-African movement. A lot. A lot of snitches. A lot of them dibble and dabble and Yoruba sex. And a whole lot of other stuff. That's why I move solo. It's a lot of ops around y'all. But let's continue.
It's human rights, and I ain't even about human rights. I ain't about inalienable rights. I ain't about democratic rights. I ain't about rights, period. I am about the best interest of African people, which means what is conducive to our survival and development worldwide. And one of the things that irritates me, even though I work with and I'm close to people who are about reparations, is that we even ask the question, does our work towards reparations actually serve our survival and development? We're still busy running around talking about somebody owe us. Somebody can owe you something that does not mean that it serves your well-being to go pursue that particular thing. We need to make decisions based on our survival and development. And one of the things in terms of our survival and development is that if we're dealing with organizing people, we need to recognize that a whole bunch of people are coming from a whole bunch of different places. Organizing is not all of us getting on the same page.
Look at all the talking points he's laying out. He's about this. He's about that. He identifies as this. Don't elevate. I mean, just babble. Babble. And this clown used to come to the UAN forums too. Let's continue.
Organization is the coordination of difference. All right, and one of the key features of our movement, and I've been in this movement since 1971, and I've been in all kinds of organizations, and I've called myself all kinds of things. I'm a.
What did he say? He been around all kinds of organizations and identifies as all kinds of things. But see, nobody in Pan-Africanist movement challenged this type of stuff. Nobody says a mumbling word. This mother effer just told y'all he the op. Let's go.
Negro, because when people talk about Negroes, I know they're talking about me. I'm colored, because NAACP, I know we're talking about me. I'm black, I'm Afro-American, I'm New African, I'm African. I ain't like it when the Nation of Islam, after.
This is the perfect example of insanity. And a lot of y'all who know this cat. You seen this cat around. Him and the other old dude. Just total ops. We fast forward a little bit because he's an idiot. Let's get to Brother Divine.
I hear you on that.
Right. So I think a lot has been said. I mean, I remember some of it. I can't remember most of it. But I just want to say to the brother that got up, I vehemently disagree with him. Reparations is our justice claim. It is our birthright. It is what is owed to our ancestors. We're not going to stop fighting until we get it. So I know he doesn't agree with it, but I got no beef with him. I'm just saying I want to make sure I make my stance known.
We understand.
So first, I want to say thank you for having this space. I think it's abundantly clear that without this group of people right here in the middle that came out, it was going to be an echo chamber of essentially denigrating foundational Black Americans and coming up with
most of the people.
Hey, let me finish.
Most of the people here are Black Americans.
I understand. I'm getting to that. But I'm not saying you guys aren't Black Americans. What I'm saying is there is an overwhelming and universal ideology amongst everyone here that disagree with it. I've heard people call it an ideology and things of that nature. So without us being here, it would have been one big echo chamber. But I thank you for opening up and letting us come in, giving us a chance to speak and have our day and our say. So thank you for that. But I think the panel is, I think, the epitome and the definition of why the delineation movement is where it's at right now and why it's moving full steam ahead. Everyone on the panel identifies and qualifies as a Black voice, right? And though none of them, right, agree with us taking the autonomy back to identify ourselves and stand on our lineage and on our family name. Hold on, I didn't interrupt none of y'all. So what I'm saying is this. I'm talking about y'all. I'm talking about all of y'all. That's why. I've listened. I've heard y'all speak. You can rebut, but I'm just saying. Right. I've heard. Right. But they all qualify as Black. None of them have the foundational Black American, thought process or what we're looking to do, right? And so that is the issue and why it has to be done this way. And it's not about being separate or being divisive. It's about respect. Right? We understand that if you have origins in the Caribbean or the West Indies and you are Black, that means you are an Afro-Caribbean from whatever island that it is. If you are a continental African immigrant, you have over 50 plus countries that you choose from that is your country of origin. This idea that those of us that were enslaved and emancipated in the United States of America, who we have now been called foundational Black Americans or Black American, whatever name you choose, if you don't like that one. The bottom line is that we have a lineage, we have a story, and we have a legacy that deserves to be respected. My issue with the idea of the second brother right here, he's already come out, he's pretty much been saying that he's against reparations and what's old and this, that nature. He's uttering this.
He didn't say that.
But wait, let me finish.
He didn't say
right, everything I got wrong, he can rebut after I'm done. I'm not going to interrupt him. The bottom line is this idea of Uhuru, right, makes us all generic Africans. Whether the intentions are good or the intentions are bad, that's still erasure. Because we had an ethnogenesis on this land. We are a mixture of multiple ethnic groups. We are an amalgamation. We can't find Black Americans on the continent. You just can't. That's the facts, right? And so, wait, let me finish.
Chill.
It does. Who named your land? Right. But you're still Guyanese, right? Are you still Guyanese? Are you still Guyanese? Are you still Guyanese?
As far as that's concerned, but
hold on. No. Stop.
So as far as that's concerned, we are Black Americans. You still Guyanese. It don't matter whether you identify or not. That's where you're from.
I'm away.
Right? You don't have to identify. That's where you're from. That's fine. That's your choice, right? This is our choice. This is what I'm saying. This is where the disrespect is coming in. You as a Guyanese man think you have more authority to tell us how we need to identify, right? That's what's insane about this, and y'all don't even see it because one of the foundations of Pan-Africanism is to erase the Black American ethnic group.
That's not true.
To make us.
I'm sorry, my brother. I'm so sorry. That is not true. That is not true.
The brothers get that.
That is not true.
He just said we're African people.
Yeah, here's the thing. We are African. That's not erasure. I started off the night by saying Black people.
Listen, you don't, and I think this is one of the issues that we're starting to see. Y'all don't have to agree with it. Y'all get to identify as African. Y'all get to identify as African.
I just want to say.
Y'all can do the Uhuru. Listen, I'm just letting y'all know. Here's what I'm here. Let me just say this in closing.
Go ahead.
I don't want all the interruptions and back and forth because this is not even an argument. It's not a debate. The bottom line is that there is a growing number of Black Americans that are going to be standing on our lineage. It is a foundational Black American renaissance. We are no longer generic Africans. We're not all these people of color. We're no longer these huge conglomerates. We're going to stand on ethnicity. Why is that? Because when you look at the let's go to the continent, because somebody talked about spirituality and how the white supremacist spirituality does all this division and tribalism, and then it's African spirituality that doesn't. The continent is one of the most divided and tribalistic places on the planet.
Prior to prior to Europeans.
Because
prior to Europeans.
It's not the same thing.
We don't have gang violence?
It's not. So hold on, wait.
All right, Charlie Kirk.
So that's right. That's like a white supremacist talking point. So you're gonna talk. Wait. Wait. You're gonna tell us that the less than 1% of Black Americans that commit crimes, let alone in gang violence, is the same as every single African on the continent being born into a tribe?
No, listen.
Are we saying that?
Are we saying that the Europeans are practicing tribalism when they go to war with each other?
Yes.
Do we look at the Europeans as one monolith?
No.
So what I'm saying is this. A lot of what you're saying is leaving out a lot of historical facts. But that's just a fact. Like you leaving out a lot.
Is anything I said wrong?
Yes, some of it was wrong.
Where's more tribalistic than the continent of Africa?
Where's one? I started off. Hold on. Okay. I started this thing off saying Africa is the most culturally, linguistically, and genetically diverse place on the planet. So what's name me a continent where everybody is on one accord, and then you talking about.
Hold on, Sister Marcia rocking in her seat, but
homie only disagree with Brother Divine to agree with him.
Fact.
But that's so crazy that you're just not a listener. You just want to be the person talking versus listening to understand, to come to an agreement. This is what creates, when they talk about there's division amongst us, the division is when you do not want to listen to your fellow brother or sister giving their point. You want to interject all the time because you're a narcissist. You want to be the one talking all the time versus listening to comprehend, to create solutions for a community. Erasure is happening everywhere and you don't see it because you're plopped here in, and then one of the things I want to understand is this a reparation conversation for New York or a global reparation conversation? That's one thing that's very confusing for me in this conversation. But you're plopped here and you're giving all these conjecture talking points that is breaking the point of getting to a solution. We need a solution that's going to gather people. You may not think that delineation is right for people, but they do. And you're supposed to support people where they need support. And that's one thing our people just don't understand, that when you're supporting someone, whether you like it or not, when they say, well, you like it, if you love it, I like it. That's it. There's no other question. You're supposed to, and you can stay firm on what you want to be. Like I will always say, I'm a Pan-Africanist, but I do not disagree with delineating from ideas that don't include you or see you as a person that's given significant contribution to the world. Your contribution has been stolen over and over and over again. But I will digress on that point. Thank you, Sister
I'm going to
Keisha.
say this real quick. A lot of the people from that is in these meetings that are not FBA, y'all need to take them to places like Newark where they outnumbered and then see where the smoke come from. Because that's when it'll get real. Because when they outnumbered, they ain't going to be as vocal. Because it's going to be more than likely an FBA person hosting it, and they're going to hold it down, and y'all going to be able to say what y'all want to say without being interrupted and disrespected. I yield.
Look, we always good no matter where we go. We knew we were stepping into hostile environment, but that's the legacy of the foundational Black Americans. We show up to fight. What? What up? Who want what? We created that. We originated that. That's our legacy. Nat Turner, Gabriel Prosser, Denmark, VC, you name it, we pulling up. What up? Who want what?
In your face.
And just to piggyback on that, even though I don't disagree with Brother Black, here's the difference though. That's not the type of environment we want. We're not trying to create no bully environment. We're trying to create an environment so we can have a good faith conversation and we can walk away with respect. That's what we want. See, that's the difference between the spaces that we will cultivate and the spaces that they cultivate. Their spaces are designed to shout us down because that's what you do with the truth when your foundation is based on a lie. In our spaces, it will be like, yo, say your piece, because nothing you're going to say is more important than the truth that I'm about to drop. Like that's what I was saying what I said there. This is not, I'm not here to debate you. I'm not here to say what you can or can't identify as. We're not in dispute with that. We don't care what you identify as.
Right.
The issue is you're trying to control what we identify as, and that's not up for debate. So in our space, we would just make that claim. You can make whatever claim you want outside of trying to tell us what we're going to be, and that could be that. And that's the only way we can have a true Pan-Africanism that builds anything substantial. But as long as it's based on this disrespect and this ethnocidal erasure that you want to okay and claim is a good thing under the guise of we're all Africans and all the same, even though you have these hidden thoughts and agendas that you're not letting us know out the gate, then we can't have nothing. We can't have no unity. I'm not sacrificing respect and ethnic autonomy on the altar of fake unity. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, the lines are blurred, brother, but very good point. I appreciate what you just said.
I like that too. You guys say that again, because yeah, all that my brother just said.
Press rewind, you know.
The most diverse one, the one that was the most colonized, the one with the richest resources. Of course, Africa's divided because of its richness, its wealth. That's something that we know. Everybody knows this, and I know you know this, brother.
They divided because of the richness. Make it make sense, please.
Africa's divided because people don't want to work together. They allow everyone to have a voice in their country versus them. That's why.
But you know what I said too? And like I told him earlier, when Brother Divine was talking, and he was talking about it was because of Europeans, and I would always say Africa has been divided prior to Europeans arriving. They were already divided. There was already wars going on. Why do you think they sold people off? Because they weren't unified. But they like to live this fantasy life that Africa is Wakanda. It's a great utopia. You get there, all your problems are gonna go away. Come drink from the Dr. Sebi River and watch all your ailments disappear like there's no comp. I'm about to get off my soapbox, but I gotta keep reiterating this. And I'm not knocking Africa. Been there 4 times, and I know the Pan-Africans not really serious about Africa because for 4 times I've invited people. People ain't come. All right, whatever. I'm like, yo, got the plug. We could buy land on the continent. Let's go. Nobody's serious. Everybody likes regurgitating this rhetoric. That's why everybody on the panel is an echo chamber and spitting the same shit I've been hearing around the pool room since 1970, whatever. That's the same shit I heard when dudes first got a red, black, and green crocheted kufi. Cut it out. Same shit they was kicking in Car Wash and the Mac. Come on, man. They need to cut this shit out.
All I wanted to say was even Killmonger, if we look at Wakanda, even Killmonger tells us that you in Wakanda are protected in your gates, while everyone, all your Black citizens, all the Black people around the world are suffering, but you have your vibranium and you're this and you're that. And Killmonger wants to take vibranium across the globe, not just to America, which means there is an ethnic problem in Africa as well that isn't really spoken about. Well, we talk about it, but you know what I mean.
Good point, Sister Marcia.
And the mistake most people are making, real quick, Brooke, the mistake most people are making these days and still making, and we talked about this a few times on this show as well. Not every Black person is from Africa.
Word.
So, once you remove that out of the equation, you can have a new conversation. But if you're going to keep insisting on that, if you came from Africa to the American shores a million years ago, you're not African no more.
Word.
And that's not a knock. Like Brother Divine was saying, I'm not knocking nobody for being Black. I love you if you Black, as long as you love me back. If you don't, then, you go ahead that way, I go my way. And I'm done.
Like I said it before, that I was invited to the Free Haiti information movement by Easily Danto many years ago. And they it's a WhatsApp group, and they provide a lot of information about what's real and not real going on in Haiti. But you can ask her. I sit back, I learn, I listen. If there's something going on, I contribute based on the information that I receive. And I think I pointed that out to Sister Marcia on a recent investment. I don't talk about it because, it's not to be talked about. But, dude ain't put nothing up, I'll tell you that much. Dude ain't know what I was talking about after it was over. I asked him. He didn't know what I was talking about. But that's your native land, bro. Where your bread at? How much you put in there? But anyway, let's continue.
Can I just add something real quick before you play that?
Go ahead.
One of Africa's biggest problems today in 2025 is the fact that they don't snatch down their coons. As Sister Keisha says all the time, they don't get their tribe in order. You sit here, you're proud of your tribe, but you ain't getting it in order. And understand, here in America, we snatch down our coons. So you could be in your country and decide to let your coons run wild. Not over here. We're going to check them every time. As I always say, foreign or domestic. We going to check the coons. So, and we're definitely not going to allow people who don't check the coons in their country tell us how to handle their coons over here. Because y'all not doing a good job of your coons over there. That's why we're dealing with them over here. And we gonna deal with them. And I'll land there. Thank you.
Can I add one thing, Sister Keisha? Can I be heard?
Yeah, go ahead, brother. You got it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to point out that, like Brother Taz said, he went all the way around, and in Sister Brooks' words, the mulberry bush, to only agree with me. But I want you to see what he did, because these are the tactics that they use to gaslight in real time. I'm accurately labeling it as tribalism. He was labeling it as diversity and how diverse and rich the continent was. But so making excuses for the tribalism on the continent, but was ready, in Brother Taz's words, to Charlie Kirk our violence problem. He didn't say, oh, well, there's gang violence, but because of how white supremacy targets you guys. No, he was ready to use that to make excuses for the tribalism on the continent. I land there.
I'm gonna let the sister here talk, and then the brother in the back of the red. Please keep it short, y'all. Keep it succinct.
Let's stop.
Go ahead.
Let's stop.
So, honey, you said you were Haitian, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, okay. I can never get that phrase right, but I love it.
Check
Okay,
1, 2, 2, 2.
learn the house.
Yes, ma'am.
Talk on this, please.
So,
We want to hear it.
okay, all right. So I asked about the gender.
Yeah.
Hello?
Your voice is better. Your regular voice is better. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what I wanted to say was one of the things that I love about the Haitian Revolution was the first thing they did was kill the Black collaborators.
Mm.
That is the first thing. The first thing that they okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so what I was saying to the brother was that I love the Haitian Revolution, and one of the things that I learned from the Haitian Revolution is the first thing that the Haitians did was to kill the Black collaborators. Before they killed a white man, before they slit a white man's throat, they killed the Black collaborators because they knew that they could not have a successful revolution with Black collaborators. And here is why we're delineating. Let me tell you something. I grew up here in East Flatbush. I'm a foundational Black American, but I went to school with y'all. I see the familiar faces that I've seen just walking around in the hood and everything. I'm the one who started the nail shop. And it was Caribbeans on both sides. I was pretty much the only foundational Black American there. And it was Caribbeans that was helping me, and it was Caribbeans that was stopping us. So there was on both sides. I'll be honest about that. Now, what I will continue to say about the Haitian Revolution is right now, unfortunately, we have a lot of people, right, who may not have the same ideologies as you, but they fly your flags. And unfortunately, they are trying to get in the way of our reparations. We are not at CARICOM. We're not getting in the way of you guys' reparations. As a matter of fact, I want y'all to get y'all money. Whatever country y'all come from, I have been to some of y'all countries because I love y'all. You know what I'm saying? I've been with y'all to some of y'all countries, and I want y'all to get y'all money. But I have a problem when that there are people here that don't have our lineage that are standing in our way. Now, are there people with our lineage that are standing in our way? Yes, they are. And guess what? I'm gonna mold them motherfuckers down too. So let me tell you something. So excuse me, how so? Their voices are irrelevant. How they're saying things like we don't deserve reparations or things like that.
Come to the hearing.
Well, okay, let me hold on one second, because you're asking questions and I don't think I quite understand your question. So we have, someone brought up earlier that we have a representative, I think he's in Baltimore, no, he's in Boston, Westmore. Baltimore. Okay, Baltimore. Westmore. Now he is a politician. He has Jamaican lineage, and he says on any platform that he can that Black Americans don't deserve reparations because he would not get it. That is a problem, and this is why, hold on, he is one person, but he is in politics. That is the problem. That is the problem that we have. If these were just,
don't call them out. If they don't tell the Jamaicans to call them out.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? The U.S. Freedmen's Project. Hold on, the U.S. Freedmen's Project reached out to over 50 Caribbean and African organizations in the state of New York.
That's right.
They didn't ask them for money. They didn't ask them to march, any of that. All they asked was a letter of support for foundational Black Americans. You know what happened? Not even a response.
None of them.
But like I said, we've been fighting for everybody. Yes, it does. It does. It does. What we need from you, let me tell you what we need. What I need from you is to speak to your folks and tell them to either stand down or stand with me. Come on, Nova. You already Nova. Knock it off. Come on, brother.
Now we understand.
You can't find us doing that.
Hold on, wait. Back in 2018, when she did that nail shop thing, I didn't care about foundational Black American. I didn't care about Caribbean American, none of that. Brooklyn will tell you, I was right there with you, Brooklyn, when you were going through that. Had nothing to do with FBA, had nothing to do with that. I supported you all the way when it came to that.
And I absolutely said right here that there were Caribbeans with me, and that there were Caribbeans in
Right.
my
So don't group us with the Westmores.
Don't group us with here's the problem. Here's the problem. So I'm not saying, and this is the thing. This is what y'all not understanding. So if you're, let's just say you're for reparations, right? And you're standing with us, right? Wonderful. I'm not talking to you. But I will delineate from Westmore. And I have to let people know that Westmore is not us. That is why he feels that way. He is standing in the middle of, and let me say this. Understand that this is not just foundational Black Americans coming for Caribbeans. Because let me tell you something, if a foundational Black American is in my way of my reparations, I'm mowing that motherfucker down too. Okay? I don't give a fuck who it is that's between me and my goddamn money. And for somebody else to sit here and say that, oh, it's a colonial money. If I took $5 from you and didn't pay you for it, well, how would you feel? You want your money regardless. I don't care if I took the money and spent it on crack. It's my goddamn money. My people worked for hundreds of years for free. And if you were not here on this soil working for this government for free, then you don't qualify for reparations. But that does not mean that I don't stand in solidarity with you while you get your reparations. Hold on.
My resume speaks for itself.
Yes, one more thing. Okay, so
Miss, please, one last thing.
Sorry, the room that we put together here, I think I made an assumption that this room was more on time. So when we're saying,
here she go, Madam Babbler. Madam Babble. That's what I'm gonna call her. Madam Babble.
The Bayesian Babbler.
You know, but we just want y'all to see what's going on. Why I was so heated. You know, why Sister Brooks still pissed off. You know, I gotta keep my sister cool and calm because, you know, I'd rather take the hits than she take the hits, you know? And that's the way it should be, right? I'm going to take the hits so they don't take the hits. Brother Divine, Brother Sage, I'll take all the hits. And the person I was speaking to was Nova, Jack Felder's son. So those of you who are in the Pan-African movement here in New York, you know exactly who it is. Who, by the way, said his mother is Kenyan. We ain't never seen her in the movement, though. How come y'all never seen her around, though? You see Dr. Felder up on 125th selling his books, you know, coming to the forums and all that. Where she was at, you know? And he said, going to his mother's native land, Kenya, he's heard Akata and all that. And so I was like, well, what you do about it? We supposed to just eat it and take it, right? Let's go.
in when folks are saying us and you and this and that.
Exactly.
I don't want y'all to talk to us with the same sort of
But I just
venom,
got
with the
here
same, no, not you Miss personally, with the same venom that is necessary to deal with coons and ignorant black people and unpoliticized and unpoliticized Caribbean people and folks that subscribe to hold on.
Pause, because she was real annoying. And that's why, you know, last week I showed a few quotes, more than a few, from Dr. Chancellor Williams. Destruction of Black Civilization, 4500 BC to 2000 AD. And he said the exact same thing we're saying. They don't want no accountability for nothing. None. Get your tribes in order. Why you worry about us? Now, one of these folks said, we're going to get our tribes in order. We're going to talk to our folks. If I'm lying, those who were there tell me I'm lying. Did we hear that? Yeah, we're going to work it out with our own folks. We're going to try. You know,
in fact, he told us he can't. Remember?
Uh-oh.
He told us he tried.
Yep.
He told us he tried. He said he tried with President Divine. You know her name. He said he tried with one of the, I think it was a council person in East Flatbush. He tried to take her down and he couldn't. I'm sure we're gonna get to that part.
Yeah, that's Haitian council member Farrah Lewis.
He said they have done campaigns trying to take her down, but they couldn't.
Yep. Oh, and you was not lying, Sister Keisha. I want to make sure I came on the cosign.
Yeah, just like I said earlier, Dennis Kaiser said the same thing, that only in New York can this happen because of how New York is built and the dynamics of it. You know, it is like a basic microcosm of the world, New York City by itself. Well, if you include the metro area, because in order to make it big, because you do have pockets of Caribbeans in other places as well. Some of my growing up was in Spring Valley, New York, which is about just over the Tappan Zee Bridge. So if y'all know about that place, there's a lot of Haitians up there, a lot. All the Haitians in Brooklyn go up there because they got family up there and all that. So I meet a lot of people from Brooklyn that, oh, you from Spring Valley? Oh yeah, I go up there, I got a couple. Oh, you know, this, that, and the third. So we still have that in certain places in New York Metro as well, but New York is very dynamic in that there's a lot of Caribbean and African people, and you're going to get that smoke like this in New York City or in the New York City area more than anywhere else. And this is why I said what I said, because if you take it just over the bridge or a tunnel to Jersey, it's a whole different story. And I wasn't trying to say bully people or outnumber them so you could intimidate them. It was to show how that would go different in different places. And with that, I land my plane.
And I just want to piggyback on that. I'm glad you said it, because I want to make sure I asked for forgiveness. That's not what I meant. I didn't think that you meant otherwise. But you make a great point, because a lot of the questions that we get, right, especially being here in New York and being on the ground by other Foundation Black Americans and other reparationists around the country, is like, well, why now? Like, why are we getting and hearing like all this rumbling and all this, like, you know, this friction now? And it goes directly to what you said, Brother Black. See, in the early days, now Pan-Africanism has always given them cover. I will say that. But in the early days, they did not have the numbers to make this kind of public ruckus. They did not. And so whether they wanted to or not, back then, going back to something I said in the beginning of this live, when I said, this is not your daddy's New York Giants, right? These are not your grandfather's New York Giants. So back in the day, with your grandfather's New York Giants, they just wasn't here in the numbers. So whether they wanted to or not, they assimilated, quote unquote, into foundational Black American society. They kept their heads down. They just went about the business of doing what they did.
One second. Because you know who show and prove with exactly where you was at, and that's why I interrupted you at this second. Herc, when you talked about the foundation of hip hop,
Yes.
the same argument.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to say.
Yes, right. He specifically came and said, I can't play that Jamaican stuff. Nobody knew what it was. And it wasn't cool. And so that's exactly what we're seeing now in this space. The Pan-Africans gave them cover to say, no, we are all the same. And so they gave them agency that they had not earned and still don't deserve. But what has happened since then is that they used that cover from the Pan-African movement to build ethnic enclaves, but more importantly, and more of a problem for us, they built up ethnic enclaves of political power. And so what they did, as their numbers started to climb, they got into these assembly seats. They got into these state senator seats. And what they've always done that we're now only now catching on to is that they have always prioritized their ethnic group first, then their specific region next, and if at all, foundational Black Americans last. And so now we're flipping the script and flipping the order. But before that, they had no choice but to come on board with whatever we was doing, which is why you have them joining our movements. But all the while, and Sister Keisha sent me this link, and I'll be quiet here. I think it was Professor Black Truth read the article from the Negro Digest in 1963. You know, if you haven't heard it, if you haven't read it, you can go get the audiobook version of it on Professor Black Truth's channel. Oh, Sister Keisha got it at the ready. So one of the things in there, right? And I don't want to spoil it just in case you want to go into it, but one of the things I will talk about that goes directly to what I just said and land is that there was a Jamaican man in New York that was a part of our civil rights organizations. He did not specify which, but he was in there while at the same time having anti-Black thoughts, actions, and sentiments. And that is what a lot of them, if not the majority of them, have done their entire time here. Kept that anti-Black sentiment to themselves while they jockeyed for power on the low. And now they are expressing it. And that is what and who we are up against, in addition to the Pan-Africans that continue to give them cover, even when they're outright disrespectful and downright subversive and undermining.
You know, I'm going to drop that in the chat for everybody to read. It's from a 1963 article, publication called the Negro Digest, produced and published by the Johnson family. Before Ebony, he had the Negro Digest. And this particular article begins on page 30. And so I'm dropping it in the chat so you all can read it for yourselves, because next week we will discuss it. But I want you to see, before the discussion, this is not something we're making up. It's what they said that their own folks is doing. But it's in the chat. I just dropped it so you all can read it. It's Google Books. There's great articles in there, as a matter of fact, throughout the whole publication. But that particular piece, begin at page 30. So you all can read it. The link is in the chat. This continues. Hold on.
You are
That-
fighting. Right, you are fighting.
Yes.
Me and you.
Hold on.
Not
Let me-
just you.
Here's the thing.
When we
Here's the
sit
problem
and
that
we
we're
have
having.
reparations,
Here's the
it
problem
ain't
that
about
we're having. Here's the problem we're having, right? Dr. Claude Anderson told us that as foundational Black Americans, if we don't get our reparations, he told us that we're done in this country, in our own country that we built. So now all of a sudden, all the scholars are right except for Dr. Claude Anderson. But anyway, so because of this is why we have adopted. Now, we are not quite as violent as the Haitians, which I love, what I'm saying. Yet, hold on. Can I finish what I'm saying? What I'm saying is, in the beginning, yes, I did not say it as a disrespect, because this is honor to what the Haitians was able to accomplish, okay? So I'm saying that I started my speech by saying that the Haitians killed the Black collaborators first. We haven't killed
That
them.
wasn't the first.
We haven't.
That wasn't the first thing they did.
Okay.
That's not the first thing.
That was
So one of the first things. That's
one
better.
of
One of the first things.
Why did not turn up?
One of the first things.
Now we understand
Okay.
one.
So what I'm saying is we have not done that.
Turn up.
And that was the solution.
That was brutal.
That was the solution. But the Haitians won, didn't they? Didn't they win?
Did not win.
Didn't okay. Sorry, Mr. Haiti. Did the Haitians win the Haitian Revolution?
They went independent.
Okay.
Where my Haitian brothers and sisters at?
Now
You
all
see
of a
this?
sudden,
You see this North
I'm
African
speaking
breakfast?
Greek. I'm lying on their history. What?
What is wrong with? Thank the Lord I wasn't in the room.
Now they
Thank the Lord I was. Since when? Since when? I don't
Hey, Sister Marcia,
understand.
you're gonna have to serve them with some burning necklaces over there.
Shit.
I'm sitting there
need my
giving
machete.
honor
Coupe that. I need
and
to coupe
homage.
that because he's disrespecting his lineage. He's disrespecting his forefathers. And maybe he doesn't come from IET anyway. At the end of the day, he doesn't come from there because I know too many of my brothers and sisters who don't speak the language. So as soon as you can't speak the language, I know you're not Haitian or Haitian, like my mother likes to say. You have to say Haitian, you can't say Haitian. If you can't speak the language, then you're not that. You're just saying it. You're pretending, and that's why you could say you didn't win. Yes, in the long game, it looks like you didn't win, but look at the oppression that they keep piling on top of you. And then your people just keep fleeing for other countries. So how can you win when you keep running away?
Oh.
What is on July? Like, I don't even understand how disrespectful that was.
I just would like to point out that I was giving the utmost respect to your lineage and your people and what they accomplished, and I was being met with that for trying to give props. Like
and so this is when you're met with this type of aggression and comeback, that means they are not, because they do not respect the work that was done. Yes, 200, 300 years later, look at the state of the country, but that's because of the oppression. When you don't want to remain independent, when you're begging the white man, oh father, this, I can't do anything without the white man. As long as you think the white man is going to serve your interests, you're going down. And that's one of the things the forefathers had taught us. Even when Toussaint, right? Quick story. Toussaint, right? They told him, nah, bro. What's his name? Napoleon is lying. There's no diplomacy that's going to happen. He was like, nah, I gotta go. He called me. So you go to the white man who's been holding your country hostage for how many years prior? You go to him for him to put you in a dungeon and you die there? And no one can really remember your name? Come on. You got to be kidding me. And this is the problem with our people all over the place. As long as you think the white man's water is better than your water, and we are in poo-poo-poo-doo. And I don't believe that. And I don't want any of us to continue to believe that these white people have a power over us. They do not. We need to reclaim who we are. We have all the power. And if we're not reclaiming it, shut the fuck up and get out of people's ways trying to reclaim it. And that's my.
Kupete buleka. Kick that shit, my shit.
Uh-oh. And then, when he says that, we're all African. What about the Arawaks who were there on your native land before these Africans arrived? Are you
fighting, honey?
Hold on. Are you an invader to that land? Because the Arawaks were there first.
They were fighting. They fought tooth and nail for that country. tooth and nail for that country. They emboldened the people that were captured and brought into that country. They emboldened them. They showed them where to hide, the tunnels in the hills, everything. They taught them. And now you're disrespecting your lineage? Are you crazy? And that means that your family, and this is where I say that education, you have to have that curious mind. You have to have that rabbit hole. I'm gonna dig myself in that rabbit hole until I find what I'm searching for. And if you don't have that curious mind, you're not gonna get the education outside, because these Europeans aren't going to teach you. And that's one thing I was fortunate with, and I bless my ancestors for giving me this curious mind. They used to tell me I was a pain in the neck for always asking questions. But today, those who are still there looking at it was like, you know what? You used to ask all the stupidest questions. But look at you now. You're the only one holding the culture in your family. Everyone else, they don't speak the language, they don't eat the food, they don't do anything.
Speaking of education, the United African Movement was an educational powerhouse. It was a powerhouse. You know how it was destroyed? Staunch, hard, cold Pan-Africanists destroyed it. Destroyed it. But again, they think nothing is wrong. We're getting ready to close out because you have a part 3 next week. Because I told you, Brother Tag got footage on top of footage on top of footage. And we got to get through it all. This is what a conversation should have been. But it wasn't. It was a hit piece. But we saw y'all for who you were. Like I said, I had no intentions of going at all. But you know, Sally Dennis, my 5th great grandmother, said, girl, get yourself up. Get yourself up. Martin Wilson, who was actually sold from the continent of Africa, said, get yourself up. I'm not reclaiming what they took from me. It's a wrap. I built the land for you. Let nobody come in and tell you what it should be. So I pulled up along with the team. But I'm going to let them all get their final thoughts and comments. And we're going to get y'all out of here for part 3 next week. Sister Brooke, your final thoughts and commentary.
A couple of things I just wanted to address. One, in the beginning of the video, the guy with the white t-shirt, the one who they basically sat him down and made him stop talking after they realized that we was going to tear him apart intellectually. When he starts going into the whole Babylon thing, and as a person from East Flatbush, I have heard America being called Babylon a lot. And let me just say this, that right there is the difference. You view the country we built as Babylon. This is my house. So you could view it however. I'm not going to tell you how you should view whatever you want to view, but I'm just letting you know that is a fundamental difference. You call this Babylon, and this, like the Jamaicans say, this is my yard. Right. Go ahead. Hit me with one of those. Hit me with one of those. Hit me with a stoops. With a stoops. Okay. Yeah, a stoops. You know, I grew up in East Flatbush. Hit me with one of those. Okay. So that's one thing I wanted to say. Then I broke down that picture from last week, right? There was a part that I forgot, right? And the part that I forgot is you know, where they have us all under the table scrambling for the crumbs that fell off the table. And I said that they are on the outside. They, you know, they put us all equal, and it shouldn't be that way because they're not from here. This is not their yard. They're not from here. So they're on the outside trying to get in. The white folks were blocking them from allowing them to get in. We fought the white folks to let them in. We share our bread with them, right? Who's sharing with us? Have a good night.
I like that, sis.
Yeah, I've been coughing, so I really had to.
Brother Devon,
we're gonna have to.
Hold on, Black.
We're gonna have
Brother
to,
Devon,
I just want to say, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Brother Devon, your final thoughts and commentary, please.
Why do I gotta go behind that? I just wanna say, well, I want to just talk to something that the sister said earlier, when she brought up Killmonger, right? And it was two things that he said. Now, obviously, I subscribe to the concept that Killmonger was right. You know, we seen the shirts and we understand, you know, what he was. But it was two things that he said that I think are so profound to this conversation in that movie. If you remember, the first one, which was that was very memorable, and it was on the shirt that I wore. I think it was last week or the week before, because I have that actually on the shirt. And it was when he called Angela Bassett's character, the Queen. He said, "Hey, Auntie," when they were trying to deny him who he was. And when he was talking to Chadwick Boseman, the prince, about the weaponry and about the state in which Wakanda was operating, he leaned in and he said, "But ain't all these people your people?" When he was talking about being isolationists and hoarding the vibranium for themselves and for Wakanda alone. And in those two statements, though they were true, and though they were attempting to have some level of unity with them, he was indirectly hitting them in the face with the hypocrisy of their culture and the way in which they were ruling their land while still operating in the ways they were around the world. And so on that vein, I will say, and I think Brother Tad remembers this, when we got outside, after it was all said and done, and shout out to Brother Tad. I want to make sure I say this on live without incriminating you. You had an opportunity, and it was well within your right, because we are just forging our relationship. And I ain't even trying to get mushy. But when somebody that you knew longer than me stepped out of line and had the opportunity and the potential to get physical, not at any time did you come to me on some, "Yo, chill, bro," like, or "What you doing?" or come at me sideways, which you could have, and I would have still respected it because I understood relationship. But based on what we building, you still with me on some like, "Nah, you out of pocket, bro." And I just want to let you know that I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart.
No doubt. Right is right and wrong is wrong.
100. And not everybody moves like that. And if y'all remember when Sister Brooke first introduced me to y'all, and y'all brought me on the bridge for the very first time, and we were having that conversation, that's one of the first compliments I paid all of y'all on the bridge, all four of y'all, to be able to take in new information and judge it objectively. Because too many in this movement on all sides can't do that, and you four can. And so I will land on this. I don't know if you remember this, brother, in addition to what I just said, when we got outside, when it was me, you, and Brother Sage, and we were talking, and the other brother came up, and Brother Sage said, "Yo, look at that across the street." And it was the flags. You remember that?
Yep.
It was clearly flags hanging up in front of a store across the street from where the meeting happened. And it was every flag of the diaspora except ours, including the Puerto Rican flag.
And Cuba, yep. Puerto Rican, Cuba.
And
TR,
so,
yeah.
yes, all the Hispanic countries, Latin countries, Afro, whatever you want to say, but in America, in the land that we fought to help you get over here, no representation for us. And this is why I say the foundation of that movement, Pan-Africanism, is to erase the Black American ethnic group. Because if you can do that and you make us stateless and then you denationalize us, then we'll all look at it as Babylon. And you get to have your way with Babylon. Because who cares about Babylon? Nobody.
Right.
But when we stand up and say, no, we care about the country we built, now we are in direct opposition to the agenda that we have set forth. And I'm going to land on these words. Pan-Africanism and global unity based on uniting all the melanated ethnic groups will never be the same thing. We do not have to pretend to be African in order to unite all the global melanated ethnic groups. If that's what you on, then be on that. But let's stop this idea that we are all just Africans, and that's something you solely, almost exclusively, just police Black Americans on it, nobody else. And I'll land there.
You're on mute, Mr. Keisha?
Brother Tad, he wanted to get the applause.
Yeah. Thank you, sis. Yeah.
Sister Marcia, excuse me, Brother Black, your final thoughts and commentary.
Okay, I'm not going to talk about anything in the news. I'm going to make it a little personal today. I'm going through a lot right now with this Target and stuff. To make it real quick, I'm going to ask y'all help, not money. I'm on Section 8 because I had a depression case. And the building where I manage as a targeted individual told Section 8 over a year ago that I moved out of this apartment. Nobody been paying rent. They trying to evict me as we speak. So just if you have any lawyers in New York, this has involved a lot. I know my life is on the line, but you know, I'm not afraid to die, and I'm out here soldiering it. So if y'all know any lawyers or anybody who ain't scared, who might be a Pan-Africanist or FBA or ADOS or whatever, if they willing to fight
for
and
Black
get
folks, yeah.
There it is. That's my plane that's landed. Next up.
You know, before we get to Sister Marcia, it's very important that you understand the conditions that a lot of us deal with in our own personal lives. But we come out here and we do this for our people. And no matter what anybody says, this is monumental. So if you can or know someone who is an attorney who can help Brother Black, then, you know, reach out to him, or you can reach out to us on our social media platforms and you make sure he gets the information. Sorry that Sister Marcia, your final thoughts and commentary.
Brother Black, I send you light and courage. Right? One thing that we need in this movement is the bravery and the courage to soldier on through whatever is happening in our lives, and that's that. To everyone else, it's really, really important that you pick a side. There's a whole song that says pick a side. Pick a side. Stay on that side. And when you pick that side, you look through your history, your people's history, your personal history, and see what side they stayed on too. Because once you understand where the side lines, then you'll be confident with yourself. I'm confident with the side that I'm on. I'm confident in supporting my brothers and sisters in their struggle because I also know that they will give it back to me. It's about reciprocity. And let me tell you, they already given you something. They gave you a home. When your parents or you fled your homeland, they gave you a place to stay. But you want to say, well, it was the system, it was this, it was that. At the end of the day, it's still the people of this land that gave you the opportunity to be on this land. So pick a side, stay on the side, and shut up. Get out of other people's way, or your head will be chopped off and your house will be burned down. What do you want? With that, I bid everyone a great next week. If you got to fight with time, fight with it because it's on your side. And if you don't and you're having a soft life, be soft, luxuriate. Just make time flourish or may time flourish. It's all up to you. Sister Keisha, thank you so much. Sister Brooke, I love you, girl. My heart just keeps beating harder and harder for you. Brother Divine, again, very informative. And also Brother Tad. Thank you all. Thanks to chat. Thanks everybody for participating. We love y'all.
Well, family, this was another dope show. Like Sister Keisha said, we got part 3. Brother Divine, you already know how we rock. You know what I'm saying? It ain't even been a year yet, but I like to stand on the side of what's right. I don't play those particular politics until it comes down to my blood family. And even then, I stand with you publicly, but I'm going to chastise you privately if you're wrong. You know what I mean? And that night, you wasn't wrong in no shape, form, or fashion. Glad you came out. Glad we all pulled up as a unit, and represent the people in the chat as well as our like minds, as well as our ancestors. Sister Brooke, you said something very important that I had this conversation with my cousin about. Them constantly calling it Babylon. This is the contradiction. You act like where you was at was so beautiful, such a paradise. Who in the hell want to leave paradise for Babylon? Make it make sense. Don't be a hypocrite and don't contradict yourself because we did not build Babylon. This is not Babylon. Like let's cut the rhetoric. Again, that's all it is. It's rhetoric. But we're standing on the side of what's right. We are having the conversations our grandparents been having. So, of course, this ain't about Tariq Nasheed, but shout out to him for taking this platform, bringing attention to it, because for too long, we sat silently dealing with the disrespect. But no longer will we. We're going to show you who we are. So, family, hopefully you are inspired by something you heard here tonight. It's your turn to go out and inspire others. Hold up. Let me give a shout out to my partner, my co-host of the OG Wisdom Podcast, C Gutter. Happy King Day, bro. Today is C Gutter's birthday, the real C Gutter, not the fake ones. Shout out to you, bro. But you can catch us every Sunday at 2 p.m. on the OG Wisdom Podcast on YouTube. So y'all stay up, stay blessed, stay true, and remember, no matter how hard things may seem right now, there's always better days ahead. Sister Keisha.
Brother Black, our sister VX, if you can shoot me a brief message on what the situation really is, she's going to reach out to a great legal mind and a warrior. See if she can find somebody in the area who can help you. So
give her my Facebook information, and as soon as we get off, I'll contact her. Please.
No, you're not listening again.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear it.
It's the Bronx. You can't help yourself. She said, and I quote, "Send me a brief message about the situation, and she will see if Sister Kim can find someone who can help you." Gay. That's my brother from another mother. But again, all I know is Uncle Jesse said the Yankees won. But anyway, get ready for
the first one, not the Yankees.
Here we go. Here we go.
You know I'm from East Flatbush because I was like, who's talking about us?
When you hear Yankees them.
Automatically, I'm like, who's talking about it?
The Yankees them I win.
Speaking of which, dealing with the Bronx, it seems Mayor Eric Adams
Shout out
had
to
an old thing that came back and said, you know, she was a side chick for about 10 years. She wrote a book. It's coming out on October 5th. I keep telling y'all, you passport bros, that they will turn on you in a heartbeat, but you don't listen because you let the thing between your legs do the speaking instead of your mind. You all going to catch it because they all going to turn on you eventually.
Sis, what's the name of the book?
I don't know. It's coming out October. It's called Political something.
Oh.
I'll let you know.
You know, Mayor Adams love hookah and hot wings and Dominican chicks.
I was just about to put that part in there. Don't forget the Dominican chicks.
Hookah, hot wings, and hoes. That's the name of the book.
She's
Hookah,
Dominican.
Hot wings and hoes.
She's Dominican. And she said
At
she
least
had
she not-
a relationship with him for 10 years or more.
At least she's not a bodybuilder.
Ugh.
Cause that other side piece
I don't know. She
was
look
very
kinda
muscular.
Thick. She kind of brolic.
Did you see the other side chick that lived in the same building with the main chick?
I ain't see that.
Oh, I'm gonna send you that. I'm gonna send you that in the
The
chat.
weightlifter chick.
Yes, her.
It's kind of
Is it
crazy.
Her.
I tell you,
She
brother
had-
traders. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Now I was saying that the bodybuilder had Eric Adams' feet in the air. Oh. Pause.
I keep telling you, they will always get you with your sexual deviation. Always. You are no different, but they don't learn. They don't learn, especially you passport bros. But anyway, you know, you lose credibility too when you do that. But we thank you all for coming in and joining and rocking out with us on the bridge. Next week, we'll have part 3. And I hope Devon and Sister Brooke will be ready to rock out because Brother Tag got much more footage.
Yes,
which
indeed.
we have to break down. Again, we let you all see for yourselves what we had. We entered the lion's den. We entered the lion's den and turned them all into kittens with words, even though some of them tried to talk tough. Yeah, I like that kind of talk. You're not about nothing. You need with a fanny pack, bro. You can't be about nothing. You already lost. And you got your paperboy hat. You already lost. But again, disrespecting other people's lineage is problematic. Telling comfortable truths is problematic. There is never one history. There is many histories. And that's why I say everything that I study and research, I like to know the time of day, what people were saying in a particular time. If I'm reading a book, I like to figure out what newspaper articles, look at a map to see exactly the way the landscape was laid out. All of that plays a significant role in your understanding of history. We must remember that today is no different than yesterday. As all of you will read that article that I dropped in the chat, you will see what they were talking about yesterday, we are dealing with today. And the more we keep continuing to push things under the rug and not deal with them, we will always have problems. And that's one of the things that prior generations of this movement will not admit. You failed miserably and you locked our generation out. And when folks begin to die off, people like to rewrite history. But I'm alive and well, and I will shoot you straight in the chest every time you get out of line. So again, family, see y'all black again on the Brooklyn Bridge. Enjoy the rest of your week. We are thorough. We are black. It is our worldview. Good night, y'all. We are out.
On the Brooklyn Bridge tonight, voices strong, knowledge tight. Thorough black talk in the air, changing minds, changing flair. From brother Tad to sister K, warriors got things to say. Sister Marcy brings the heat, brother Blacksmith keeps the beat. Revolutionary waves, they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral light. Thursday nights the world will see Black Power Media on a spree. Facebook, YouTube all aligned, breaking free from every bind. Social talk and politics, every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true, for the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves, they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral light. Social talk and politics, every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true, for the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves,